It's February 17th. This is GameEnthus Podcast episode 446. I'm one of the hosts here. My name is Aaron. Mike is also here.
I am here.
Tiny
Hello
is
there.
Off. Oh, hello there. Mike is all. Mike. Tiny's off on assignment, and by that I mean he just has other stuff he has to do. So, yeah, showing off, having other things to do while I'm home.
Can you imagine?
Exactly. I'm always home. I'm always in this room. Anyway, we have guests this week. We have Fertessa joining us again. Welcome, Fertessa.
Thank you. Hello.
Glad to have you back.
It's great to be back.
Thank you for saying yes.
Of course.
And we also have Eric. Your full government name is on the screen. I feel weird saying it, but
yeah, Eric Yurko. Yeah, okay. I almost never say my last name.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think it's because what's Eric Yurko playing makes it both too specific and also just like a long. It's a bad mouth feel.
Yeah, but nobody would ever get it confused. It would be just.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you'd be right there. So,
yeah, thanks for having me.
No, thank you for agreeing to join us.
Absolutely.
So, Fertessa, we're going to start off with you. What do you want to share with us that you've been up to? I think you've been up to a couple of things, some really important things. Please share with us.
Yes, well, my company finally released the news that we have done a Goofy movie game, and I was lead designer and producer on that, so I'm really excited. Put a lot of love into that game, so yay.
Wait, is this like Disney Goofy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Goofy.
That Goofy.
I mean, Disney, I assume they're not easy to deal with.
I mean,
I'm sorry. You probably don't want to say anything. Never mind.
She's like, well, actually.
Say what you want to say. I'm sorry. I'm impressed by the concept.
I got beat up by Mickey Mouse once.
Wow.
No, they're fun. It's fun to work with. It's just a company like any other. And no, it's really cool being able to like say, oh, I want power line here and, do these things and do these scenes or whatever. So I can't really go into too much detail, so I'm not going to trip myself up. But there's that on the docket. And then I also have my third game, Mansplaining, which was like the last game that I did as an independent designer. And I co-designed it with Mondo Davis. And we've been working with Breaking Games on bringing that out. And we're looking towards releasing that for sale in the spring. So I'm very excited.
I look forward to checking that out. What was the reception like when you were going around, I guess shopping, mansplaining around? Were people like receptive or like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And everyone was pretty receptive. It was a short period of shopping it around because we went straight from playtesting to kind of the online pitching events, and from there we got connected to Sherry at Breaking Games and showed them the game and got that signed. So it was always pretty positive. Only times it wasn't was whenever it wasn't possibly a fit for their line, because party games, it's you got to find a publisher that does party games, but then also that they're doing it like currently, because we're just looking to see if they ever did party games, but that might not be part of their repertoire up front. So it was that was probably the hardest part of shopping around, was figuring out who was doing party games. And party game is such a large genre that you then wanted to see what kind of party games they were doing.
It is, yeah, it is pretty large. So, and behind you have some other games that you also worked on.
Yes.
As well.
Yep. So there's Book of Villainy and Wicked and Wise. Right now with Wicked and Wise, we're wrapping up those final files, trying to get them to the factory. So everything's going smooth and on time with that, and hopefully that should come out summer. We'll see. With the shipping, I have no guesses. Well, I did have a guess. I just have no answers.
Yeah. Add more days. That's the answer, unfortunately.
Yep. And Book of Villainy is also in its pre-production process. The Kickstarter funded, successfully finished, and now it's just a waiting game. And I am awaiting word with everybody else. So I'm excited for when that arrives.
I think Wicked and Wise is such an interesting design, like just from like a Like I was thinking about it because I was playing a different game as well called Nirvana. That's like it's half roll and write, half ladder climbing.
Yeah.
You do roll and write to generate virtual cards. And you then create a hand of like virtual cards from, and then you use that to play a ladder climbing game.
I want to play.
And the
game.
idea of essentially dissociating two different parts of the game, or I think in Wicked and Wise's case, using kind of the trick taking element as inputs and outputs for like the play in the game itself. I just found really interesting and really compelling. And it was like there's a black hole in the back of my mind. It's like, do I want to do some game design? Then I'm always like, no. And it got me closer to that event horizon, and I'm just trying to cross it.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, if you ever want someone to pitch some really bad game ideas, I've got a million of them.
I mean, I saw a really good show idea you had for Beth Sobel, so I mean, I know the genius is there.
Oh man, are we talking about great tastes of gaming?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good times.
So if we encourage you enough, Eric, will you make a game?
I'm always at the point where I'm like, I have like thematic ideas, and mostly like when I think about game design for me, I really just want to create a game that allows a very funny situation in my brain to happen.
Yes.
And like I wish I could build backwards from there, but I kind of just take the theme of it and I'm like, excuse me, other person, would you like to make this game? Because I don't really want to make it. I just want to play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to experience the game. I don't want to actually like do the play testing, because like the people who actually can do play testing and play the same game 100 or so times are saints. They have the patience of saints, and I have infinite respect for them.
I take that for granted, honestly.
That ain't me.
I can't do that either.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I think I'll project here. We all take that for granted to some degree.
Well, I think there's a challenge, right? Because like, there's playtesters and there's reviewers, right? Reviewers on one hand are like, I got a bunch of games to play, no time to play them. Playtesters are like, I got one game, a lot of time, and 100 or so plays that I need to play, and I'm going to just tweak minor things each time. I'm naturally very underselling what playtesting is. It's an art, but that the dichotomy required there means they're not incompatible. It's just hard to do both things well, I think. And I like reviewing, so I hang out in my lane.
That's fair. I think what I'm hearing is you want to create a design challenge where you get to set what the theme is.
Yeah.
And designers who are like, I want to make a small game, but there's so many possibilities. You're just like, nope, here it is. Here's a possibility.
I want like for my birthday to host a game jam where I just come up with like I'm sitting in a chair on like a very tall part of the room, and I'm like,
please,
farming, and people are like, ooh, golden. Or I think I was talking on Twitter the other day that my real dream game jam is everybody just has to take their notebook, and they pull like their notebook of game design ideas. They all pull one random page out of the notebook, they put them into a hat, and whatever you draw out's what you get stuck with for the game jam. So if it's like someone's like half workable idea, you gotta fix it.
That sounds fantastic. Until it isn't, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare for me.
Oh yeah, you get mine and you're like, it's a tile laying trick taking game? Why would you do this? Yes. Hey, I got ideas in my brain.
Let's also take that.
That's when I just say I can't read this person's handwriting and then come up with my own idea that I can do something with. That's
me every time my dad used to send me to the grocery store, and the man, lovely dude, handwriting is atrocious. He writes in cursive and it's just like a straight line with some bumps in it. And like I'll be at the store and I'll like be talking to one of the employees and like, I don't know what this list says. Can you help me? And they're like, did you write it? I'm like, why would I write something that I can't read?
I feel attacked.
Oh yeah, so once the day comes
that
where you look at your own written note and you go, what did I write?
Yeah.
And you know.
I've done that as well. That's why I switched to writing in small caps, because writing in small caps I can read pretty well. Like everything's capital letters, but it looks like I'm shouting all the time.
Yeah. Even the notes I'm taking for this show, I can sort of read what I'm writing, but you know, I wing it. You know, I don't. Fertessa might have 3 F's in it. I don't know. It still says Fertessa. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
the first 2 are silent.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
You get it. You get it. All right. So Fertessa, I in no way do I want to diminish the year of Fertessa when you have, I guess, 3 games coming out this year.
Yeah.
When you are not designing games, what are you doing?
So until recently, and not
games.
because it's my choice, it is watching Star Trek.
Okay.
I mean, it was my choice, but I would still be watching Star Trek, but I've watched it all. I started January of 2021 because I'd never seen an episode of Star Trek, and I set the goal to go through. Well, after I got through all of Next Generation, I was like, okay, I think I'm a Trekkie, and I think I need to watch everything. So then I went backwards to the original, and then just forward from there. And here
Did you watch Let This Be Your Final Battlefield?
No, what is that?
It's an original series episode that's goofy as hell.
What?
It's the one where they're like, so it's these two dudes who are like fighting on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because one of them is like they're split down the middle, and one of them's like black on the left side and white on the right side, and the other one's black on the right side and white on the left side.
I did see that.
They're like yelling at each other. He's black on the wrong side, and you're like, is this a take on racism? And they're like, yes. And I'm like,
yes.
Is it working? I
don't know.
There were some episodes in the original where you really had to kind of really squint, and it's like, I think I see where they're going here. I think I see it.
I love the original series because its sense of morals was just hitting you with a shovel, and they're like, moral, and you're like, why would you do that?
Moral hurts.
Oh, it's good.
How did you go backwards? How did you do Next Generation and then go back to the original?
Because I had to watch it all, and I was like, I need to see the origin of Spock over here. I mean, we keep going in deep into the origin of Spock, but I had to see it all. The original Captain Kirk, there are too many references. Even in Next Gen, I was like, I feel like I would get this more if I had seen that. So
okay.
And I knew going to Deep Space Nine, there were also like references to some of the original like tribbles and things and such. So it was rough getting through the original after starting with Next Gen, but after I finished it, I had a very strong appreciation for the characters. It's like, take it, Jim, I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a mechanic. Just these
follow-up question. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the movies though, the motion pictures?
Good question.
That's actually what I'm making my way through next. I watched the very first.
They were having a Fathom events to go there for the 35th anniversary of Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
Oh my god.
Which my mother loves.
That's the whale one, right?
It is a terrible movie. I also love it.
About the whales.
It's the whale one, right? Where they get the whales to talk to the probe.
About the whales, and I'm ready for it.
It's an 80s movie.
Yeah, I saw it in theater as a kid.
You just have to go in and let the experience wash over you. Like the movie will happen, and then it will be done, and you'll be like, I experienced a film. And that's how I feel about it. I love it.
Yes. Well, anything is better than the fifth one. That was atrocious.
I didn't watch it. I only watched 2, 3, and 4.
You haven't seen 6? Oh.
No.
6 is arguably the best one.
But I wouldn't go that far, but it's good.
I'm very firmly in the Church of Ricardo Montalban, so I can't hear anything else. I'm like 55 years ago, Space Seed premiered yesterday.
I'm not going to argue with that. So yes, that's.
I'm gonna watch these movies. I've been saving them like little morsels of everything that I have left that I haven't seen yet.
I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the movies. I really, really do.
I'm excited. I'm only sad that it stops after Next Generation, because this is kind of my chance to revisit the cruise after I've gone to the other series, and I'm not gonna see the crew of Deep Space Nine, and I'm not gonna see the crew of Voyager unless I'm watching Lower Decks. So
I was gonna say, wow.
or Prodigy.
I haven't seen that one either.
It's really good.
I'll see them there, but like an actual just movies, and you see them kind of grown, and a couple of years have passed. I'll miss out on that, so that's unfortunate.
Well, keep your expectations low for the final of the Next Generation movies.
Yeah, they're kind of hitters. It's
Nemesis.
The first one is Genesis. No, Generations.
Generations,
yeah.
Then Nemesis.
The only thing I know about Nemesis is that my housemate could only find it on Pluto TV in Spanish once. So she was just watching it in Spanish, and like I came in and she's just like laughing to herself. It's like she's just watching this movie in Spanish. I was like, do you And she's like, no, I don't. I was like, okay.
All
right,
what's
cool.
his name from Mad Max is in Bane. I know he's in Nemesis.
Oh, Tom Hardy?
Yeah,
a very thin Tom Hardy.
Yeah, a very thin
Apparently
Tom
he was
Hardy.
like broke and like starving to death when he made that movie. He was like barely holding it together.
Yeah,
that wasn't a good one. I think First Contact, if I recall, was pretty good, as was Insurrection.
I think I am so biasedly a fan of Next Generation that I will just enjoy it because I am too much into, like, that is my favorite series. Picard, Riker. Now he wasn't even my favorite when I was watching it, but now I see Riker, I'm like, look at this guy. Look at him. He's not going anywhere.
Have you seen that TikTok where Jonathan Frakes watches someone else on TikTok doing like difficulty levels of Riker sitting on things?
No,
what?
I've seen that TikTok, but I haven't seen Riker.
There's one where Jonathan Frakes is just watching it and like laughing the whole time.
I need to see this. Oh, Jonathan Frakes has a TikTok. I have to see this.
Well, Fertessa, you have Picard season 2 coming on March 4th, so you have a lot of content.
That was a joy to see 7 of 9. That was a joy.
Spoilers? No, I'm kidding. I'm fine.
I didn't even watch season 1 of Picard. I just read the synopsis. I was like, good enough, and then I was like,
oh, okay.
John Delancey, and I'm like, season 2, so I'm on board.
Okay, if you're good, I'm good because
I haven't even seen TNG, and I'm just here for it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
they showed. I didn't spoil because they show her in all the things. The same with John Delancey because I knew she was there even before I watched it, and I was like,
I'm like a Neo Trekkie. Like I've only really gotten on board for Star Trek with the like Kelvin timeline movies and like Lower Decks, Discovery, and all that stuff. And I'm like,
I have a question. Why is it called the Kelvin timeline?
Because I think it's because the USS Kelvin got destroyed.
Okay.
And that's not what happened in the original timeline. So the precipitating event for the timeline shift is technically the Kelvin, because I don't think Nero's mining ship had at least it doesn't have a formal name that I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a 4th one coming out in that, supposedly, without Chris Pine.
Just announced. What? Without? I thought
apparently they had some money disputes. He wanted more, and they said no, which I don't know how that works out.
Oh, look at it. I thought I saw an announcement but maybe 2 days ago where it said he was in it.
Oh, well, good.
But maybe I'm wrong.
I have to assume that like Paramount Plus, given that they're like, we've got 7 Star Trek shows in development, they have to have some more Star Trek money to burn. That well seems like it might be limitless, and I respect that.
Well,
they have a whole universe.
They're like, you want a Starfleet Academy show? Sure, have one. You want a Section 31 show? It seems complicated within the scope of the universe, but why not? We love Michelle Yeoh.
Yes, they even have there's a free MMO, which I made a character last weekend. I've been resisting because I knew I'd put too much time into it, and just making a character alone did eat up a good hour. But you get to choose from so many different species that you've met through any of the shows, and you get to name them and choose which a captain name is. It's just the details are crazy. It's like Sims meets Star Trek, and it's free.
I spent a good 2 hours in like the Skyrim character creator trying to make my guy look exactly like Nicolas Cage, and I succeeded.
Like you do.
Like I was like 16 or 20 at the time and had like a blast. I was like, heck yeah. And so I was just, Nicolas Cage fighting dragons.
Yes.
Macho Man, Nicolas Cage. Well, it all works.
Get that Thomas the Tank Engine mod.
I mean, I haven't tried that.
I love mod. My housemate is a Skyrim purist. She only uses lore compliant mods. I respect that. I am the exact opposite. I'm over here with like my TARDIS. I run out of it wielding 2 keyblades, and I go fight a Charizard. And I'm like, this is the best.
This is the way this game was supposed to be.
Finally, a game that's just a bunch of things from other games I like better.
So it's Mugen except for a RPG.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if it had Robo Jean Valjean, that would be like the peak for me. Just like the chef kiss emoji.
Wow.
Yeah, did you ever play the Les Mis online fighting game?
No.
I did not know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing either.
Oh, yeah.
And that's separate from Mugen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
When I first saw that, my mind was blown. Like, is that Barney fighting Ronald McDonald? All right, cool. I was like, All right, here we go.
The things we can do.
Modders are incredible. Like within I guess 24 hours of the latest Nintendo Direct, they already someone has already modded Car Kirby into Mario Kart 8.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
I just have a lot of
Kirby come from.
Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna explain it. You're just gonna have to watch the trailer. Look for the term mouthful mode, and just nothing emotionally is gonna prepare you for what you're gonna experience. I'm sorry.
It's weird.
Boy.
It's truly just me. I watched it. I was like,
look at your face.
I didn't have a good reaction other than just
from Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a good direct though. I mean, they
Oh, absolutely.
Even though I'm not into every game they show, but they showed a lot of good stuff. So
I will share my secret. I'm very rarely a naysayer because I'm a diehard Nintendo fan and have been since I was since before I could play Nintendo games. But I heard the Fire Emblem Three Houses music swell, and I was like, hell yeah! And then there was Fire Emblem Warriors, and I was like, I've already bought so many Warriors games, and
you don't want another one. Yeah.
I know.
You've hacked and slashed enough.
Is that similar to Dynasty?
Yeah, it's the same as Dynasty Warriors. It's got Fire Emblem characters. I was hoping it was going to be a new Fire Emblem. It is technically, but it's not. It's not.
But is it though? Is it really?
I'm just waiting for Mario Rabbids because that game is far more fun than it had any business being.
I keep going back to that, but I lose steam on it. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
it's so good.
It's for the $15 I paid for it. I have absolutely no complaints.
I might go back.
Yeah, and the Donkey Kong DLC was also really good too.
Oh yeah.
How did they weave him into this?
Oh, it's a separate thing altogether.
Oh, okay. That all checks out.
It's also in the same world, but it's disconnected from the main storyline completely.
Makes sense.
Benelstein says rabbits are so much fun, and scratch that tactics turn-based itch so weirdly. Yeah.
I'm waiting for reviews on Triangle Strategy because I just don't really know what it is. They're it's Triangle Strategy. There's this Triangle Strategy.
Well, there are 3 demos of that game that you can download now if you want to get an idea.
Okay, I need to actually download the demo then.
Oh, there's only 3 . Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
every time
Triangle Strategy.
Every time they announce anything, they're like, and here's a demo. And that was the initial announcement. And they're like, here's a demo you can play, and we want your feedback. And then there was a progress report, and they're like, here's a new demo. Tell us what you think. And now they're like, the game's about to come out. You can play the first 6 hours of the game, and your progress will carry over if you want.
I'm actually a big fan of the whole play the demo and your progress carries over thing because
sure.
I bought Monster Hunter Stories 2 because I enjoyed the demo. I didn't buy Dragon Quest 11 because I didn't really enjoy the demo, and I was like, this feels like the system's working.
That's how they don't need to issue refunds, because they're like, look, we gave you a chance to try it. That was your opportunity to not pay us.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I heard the British accent swelling at the end of the Nintendo Direct, and I was like, dang it. Now I need to go play Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I think I tried that on there was one on the Wii, right?
Yeah, the original Xenoblade. Yeah, I liked it. I had to go replay it because I found out I played it wrong the first time. Because it's like JRPG, but there's a lot of MMO style missions, and you should be doing all the missions. And I ignored all the missions, so I got to the final boss, and I was in the final 5-hour sprint where you have to fight a bunch of bosses, and you can't go back to the main world. But I was also 10 levels under leveled, so I would have to have basically gone all the way back to before that, and I was just
that's YouTube video time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Watch that cinematic.
I really liked The World Ends With You. It was one of my favorite games growing up. And then I got Neo The World Ends With You. And I was like, oh, I could go back and get all the secret episodes. Or I could watch a guy on YouTube just scroll through them very slowly and pause.
The latter.
One of these is more worth my time these days. Yeah. And that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have 100 hours for a video game anymore.
No, I stopped playing RPGs a long time ago because even open world stuff, I'm like,
I have a copy of Persona 5 Royals sitting around waiting for me to go back to it. And I'm just like, but I already played Persona 5. I got Royal for $20.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't, you'd be losing money. If you didn't buy it then, I mean, that's
right. It's if I don't spend the money now, it's going to cost more later. And
exactly.
I hear someone in the back being like, what if you just didn't buy it? And I'm like, I don't.
What?
But then I don't have it.
Yes.
What am I talking about?
Are you
In my
listening to
life.
yourself?
I didn't buy it. What are we discussing?
Yeah. No, I will say I have been very big on like pseudo open worlds. Like Pokemon Legends Arceus has been nice because it's not entirely open world, but it's like a little open world, and that's been good for me. And it's just fun to run around and get punched in the face by a Snorlax, a thing I never knew I wanted from the Pokemon franchise.
Who
I
knew?
heard
And I was
that
like-
one was cool because it
Yeah.
went darker.
Yeah, I was like, what if Pokemon could beat me up?
Vengeance.
Yeah, I know, right? I never expected that was the thing I was looking for.
Vengeance is very popular. All right. So, Fertessa, anything else you want to share with us in this anecdotal part of the show?
Other than Star Trek and
You have 3 games
board
coming out this year.
games. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. It's just me and my puppy trying to teach her how to use buttons. And, you know, it's more about me keeping a consistent schedule with that than her. She's smart as a bucket. I mean, smart as a whip.
How smart is a bucket exactly?
Is that a compliment?
You can hold liquid. Well, okay.
Like, that's sort of like she's as smart as a watermelon. I don't know
what that means, but-
scale to assess that on.
Smart as a whip. I've lost neurons because I've been working on 3 games that are all due next week.
No pressure, right?
Right. So low on neurons, but she is not. She's very smart. And other than that, dang it, I had one thing. Oh, I've been contributing to OFPG Voices with Mick and Starla from Our Family Plays Games. So that's been fun.
I think you and I are going to be on episode 4, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
We're on the even episode. So, all right,
Yes.
cool. I've been having a good time doing that. So, I like what you did in episode 2, where you're just breaking down some real questions like, why are you making this game? Like, who do you think you are? And why are you making this game? Okay.
It's better than you ask yourself the questions while you're mid-crisis. Yeah.
Aren't we all mid-crisis, right?
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I really like when a game does its best to answer the question of like, why does this game need to exist? Like, what experience does this game crystallize that is critical for this game in particular, as opposed to like anything else that currently exists? I think it's a fascinating question for a game to answer.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Here's a question, Eric. What have you been up to?
Good question. Work, job mostly. But other than that, I've been playing games, right? So I've been doing a little bit more board game arena lately, just because I heard everyone was getting into it, and I figured it was time for me to also hop on the cool kids train, get sunglasses, the whole dream. And I've largely just been playing a few games that have been coming across my table as, time progresses. Lately, it's been Adventures of Robin Hood from Cosmos.
I haven't played that one.
Very good. It's just a really cool. It's just a really cool cooperative game. Like, the narrative is fun. You have to like. It's. I'm gonna call it open world in a sense that I think is actually really interesting, because you have basically 5 player pawns. You've got your current pawn, a short, a long, and another pawn, and they have arrows on them. So you actually have to place them starting at your player pawn with these arrows to move a certain number of steps in a direction. And so that's how you move between locations, is you actually build out this path, and then you place your final pawn on the destination you end up at. So you have this like actual, you can only run so far in a turn. And if you don't use the long one, you get an extra action token.
Yeah.
So it's basically you're conserving your energy by not sprinting. It's a very cool concept, and I could see it being very easily implemented for a variety of other takes and gameplay styles. It's just kind of a fun way to experience a narrative.
How does a cooperative work on BGA?
I've never played one before. That's a good question.
Oh, a cooperative game on BGA?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been playing Tranquility on BGA cooperatively, and that's been fun. So it's Joe Sondow and I have just been kind of dropping cards and doing the like cooperative aspect of it. It's perfectly reasonable. I think that BGA isn't totally like designed for cooperative games, because it has some weird things around like who won, and like is like it's like, oh, there's a competitive winner, and like here's your ELO, and like these none of these really make sense in a cooperative scheme. But we've been playing Tranquility and Similo a whole bunch on BGA, and those have been pretty fun.
Do you use the chat to coordinate that?
Honestly, we don't really chat that much. We kind of just like we'll play asynchronously. So like over the course of a day or two, Joe and I will just like play a game of Tranquility, and we'll chat usually when the game ends, right before the next game.
Yeah, okay. Ben just said that there is technically video chat in BGA, but most people just use Discord and Zoom. Yeah, I've never used the actual stuff. It's nice that it's there.
Right.
I've never used it though. I like BGA. It's good.
Oh yeah.
I've yet to do anything cooperative though, but I like co-op games. So
I've only played competitive games on there, but I always wondered, like, I think I saw the crew on there, and I was just like, well, there's so much you have to communicate, so I wondered how that would necessarily work. Since
what is the interface like? Because I know Amanda Panda, she and some other folks played all the crew stuff, all 50 missions of the crew on BGA. How would you do that?
We're at like mission 30 now.
Okay.
Wow.
Or me and some coworkers. Yeah. I can actually tell you. I can bring up. Let me look at I have a table open. I can tell you about the game's interface and layout. So basically, we're on mission 29, and so it has the mission open, and then it shows my hand below it, and then the communication tokens. There's some things that don't quite always work because there's some things that are just easier if you can like sit around and discuss things. So we also have a group chat on the side where we'll like gently critique each other's moves every now and then.
Gently.
Usually things like, oh, you played a card that lost us the mission for no discernible reason. Why would you do that? And they're like, huh, you're right. I just wasn't paying attention. And we're like,
you've been uninvited.
Just me softly breathing and just being like, could you please
hey, James,
please do that. It's a lifestyle. So beyond that, I've been just hanging out, doing photography, doing some other stuff. Like played Key to the Kingdom, Restoration's new game. It's cute. It's a cute little family game. You kind of flip open the board or flip shut the board to like collect stuff. It's a little goofy. It's like that. It's that nice level of like fantasy goofy that you kind of want from like a family weight game. I appreciated it. Lots of puns, which is surprising given Suzanne works for Restoration. Like I've asked on numerous occasions, like, how'd that get by you?
I don't think I've seen that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's I have the rule book here. Rules.
Oh, okay. I did see that one. Okay. Last thing I played from them was Buried Treasure.
I haven't played it yet. I have it.
I like it. It's fun.
It's on my like this weekend list. Like, I managed to convince my housemate for it to play a game of Oath with me a few weekends ago, and that like burnt her out for a hot minute. So we had been playing like Cascadia and Railroad Inc. and like things that are probably your like casual-ish weight games, and I was like, I don't suppose I could convince you to play one. I did. It was one. Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, I'm always told that those games are anything that's Cones of Dunshire. No, the wife and kids are like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, that's kind of the challenge you're reviewing right now, especially is like someone will be like, hey, do you want to review this game? And I was like, that game looks amazing. I'm never gonna get to the table. I don't know anybody who will play it with me.
I have the same issue.
Blessedly, sometimes publishers are like, that's okay, play it when you can. Other times they're like, then we will find someone else who can play it. I was like, I respect that.
Or if they say something like, hey, we already paid you for that preview, you're like, I better find a way to play this game. We're playing this tonight. You know
I was going to say, to use the classic, is it Malcolm in the Middle line? It's like, you guys are getting paid? No, I have that nice thing where I just ask for very long timetables. So if you send us something like 8 weeks in advance, I could get a review done before the Kickstarter launches, and that usually is sufficient for a lot of publishers, which is helpful. Yeah, especially with the pandemic, it's just hard for me to get game times planned unless I like specifically like line it up.
And looking at your Twitter account, I see that those bags that you bring, I'm always like, man, he gets to play so many good games. But I guess like you're like me where you bring all these things thinking, we're not going to play any of this, but I have to bring it just in case there's a chance.
Yeah.
Because I hate you get there and it's like, why don't you bring some games? You're like, because the other 99 times I came over, you didn't want to play anything.
Well, the problem is like the idea of a board game night has shifted a little bit, right? So like when I go to a board game night now, it's we'll play one game and then we'll catch up for 3 hours because I haven't seen anyone there in 2 years. I'm like, I for a variety of like normal human behavior reasons, I don't want to be like, hey, like this conversation's great and all, but what if we like played more board games? Like that's the kind of breathing on people's neck thing that I've been trying to avoid in my professional life. But like it's the reality, it's the difficult reality of like being a reviewer, right? Is that on one hand you've got this tension of like, hey, the thing that people do for fun, I get to do for work, kind of. And then they're like, oh wow, you must make a lot of money from that. And I'm like,
did you hear what I just said?
What? But it also means that like, yeah, I'll go to I'll have some friends who like in the before times they'd host a party. They're like, hey, do you mind bringing some board games? I'm like, sure, I'll bring like a party game selection. So I'll bring a bag, I'll set it in the corner. At the end of the party, they'll come by and they'll be like, I'm so sorry we didn't play any of the board games. I'm like, that's actually fine. Like, it's not like I didn't bring these because I was like, we have to play these. It's like if you need the board games, they're available. We didn't need them, which means the party was really good. So,
or on the flip side, you know, let me finish creating this effigy of you, and then I'll hear why we didn't play these board games. You know?
Yeah, like sometimes you do go to a party and they're like you're talking to someone and they're like, so what do you do? And they're like, work. You're like, oh, anything else? No. Like, cool. Hey, I got some board games in that bag that we could probably play.
I started asking people, what do you like to do? Instead of asking them about their job, I say, what do you like to do? You get much better answers.
Some people will just tell me work. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, one would hope if the answer to what do you like to do is work, that they would enjoy talking about their work in a way that's at least engaging or entertaining.
You would think.
You ever have a dude describe his startup to you?
Okay.
No.
I get where you're going. It's like, hey, I don't want to be part of your pyramid scheme there, sir.
Yeah. He's like, all right, so what we're building right now is a real-time Web 3.0 synergistic blockchain pipeline for connecting users to producers, to creators, to publishers, back to users by building out a scalable, real-time, geolocated, asynchronous web platform for enabling real-time conversations. And I'm like,
I feel like you memorized.
That was good.
I think the only word you missed was crypto.
Oh, I said blockchain earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean it's close enough. It worked, but you
that was
weave
good.
both of them in there.
Oh, I went to school. I've lived out here in the Bay for 10 years. You learn all the buzzwords and you just kind of let them flow through you.
It's probably for the best.
My defense mechanism kicked in, and I automatically started to tune you out and. Kind of
I actually tuned me out in the process. It's good.
My chair starts spinning and I go, where is that Ethernet cord? I forget where the plug is.
Yeah, no, it's
moving fast enough.
I like tune myself out and I like wait until my brain's like, you're reaching your destination. Like it kind of condenses the like techno babble funnel to like a point, and then I'm like, oh, I think I'm done.
Yep.
And hit you with another round of investing. You're like, I'm gonna go anywhere, and
yeah. Usually I'm just like, ooh, there's something happening over there. I want to go see what it is. And they're like, is there? And I'm like, no, and then just walk off.
Somebody said, Eric, I'll be right back.
Let me see what's funny.
Is my oven on?
You say that's when you go, oh, I have these board games in the corner, but I don't want to play with you. I'm gonna just grab the bag and go.
You just bark off. You're like, woof, and you're like, what's that, lassie? Jimmy's in the well, and you just run off.
You jump right through a plate glass window.
Games.
Yeah, that's actually the right way to do it. If you just jump clean through a plate glass window, like just to,
you're home free because one, at that point, you're probably going to the hospital, one or the other. So you got an easy out.
But you're
except for when somebody asks why you jumped, and then you just go, I don't remember. I think I have a concussion.
Yeah, exactly.
No more questions.
I think we solved it.
Yeah.
Yes, be willing to participate in self-harm.
Yeah.
Or volunteer yourself to parse a 30-page rule book for the good of everyone and just excuse yourself.
Oh, I have to read this, so I gotta.
Oh, no. I used to live with a guy wonderful dude, brilliant rules teacher. Like he just could read a rule book, skim it really quickly, explain it perfectly. Bam, bam, bam.
I don't have that skill.
I cannot do that. And now that I have the games, everyone expects me to explain the rules. And so it's me just like in tears trying to get through the rule book. And I'm like, it's a midweight Euro.
Oh no.
And then halfway through, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna move my piece here and collect all from the surrounding districts. And someone's like, you can do that? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I don't like the pressure of like having to know everything. Where it's like, yeah, people ask you a question, you like reaching for the manual, the rules. They're like, why are you doing that? I'm like, well, because I want to confirm if I'm right. I don't know.
I've never known anything in my entire life, and I resent that people imply that I do. You know what I mean? Like someone's like, wait, did you know that rule and you just didn't explain it to us? And I was like, I don't know. You were on your phone for most of the rules explanation. I don't know what you heard.
Yeah, people get like offended at you. Like you withheld information. You didn't say you could do that.
Why would I care that much?
I said it's a worker placement game. We can place workers. The first thing I said, this is a worker placement game.
The problem is it's always the rule that you leverage to like win the game, and they're like, how convenient
right?
that you
right?
had a rule that made you more money in a game where you need to make the most money. And I'm like, well, that's how you win. That's like not realizing you can buy properties in Monopoly. Like, how convenient that you have control of all of these houses, like some sort of focused one person oligarchy. And I'm like,
yep.
and that's what it is.
I recognize that I'm a kinetic learner, so I need them to just tell me the core. How do you win? What do I do my turn? Let's go. Because I'm just not going to take in whatever else you say. And I learn through failing on the board that way.
Yeah.
But when I teach games, I teach that way. And I usually am teaching it to people who like to know all the tiny details that...
That's me.
Right. People ask me about like very specific edge cases. They'll be like, okay, but like, what if my hordes are approaching from this tile and then suddenly someone happens to draw the level 71 avalanche? And I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Well, but I see both things because obviously if you're trying to wrap your mind around what the real rule set is to a game, asking a question like that might not be just because you're trying to be a jerk.
Absolutely.
It might be because you're like, wait a minute. If I understand the answer to this question, it may help me get a grasp as to what the other weird edge case things might be, and I'll know the answer if I know what the rule set is.
Oh yeah, they're playing 3D chess and I'm eating marbles.
Yeah,
it's like where
exactly
we're at.
It's just like, I can't process that level of question.
I'm just crunching my way through an entire marble, and they're like, is that how the game's played? I'm like, probably.
And Fertessa, what gets interesting is when, like, as my oldest is like you, she's like, just give me the gist of it and we'll start. Mm-hmm. My wife is more like, no, like she wants the detail, but then I like lose her halfway through, which is, which is fair. It's just, you can't please everybody. It's like either we're going to go through with a fine tooth comb or I give you a skeleton and you're going to yell at me in 20 minutes.
Yeah. So. It's a really tough thing. I usually defer to the people who want the details and let them teach. But if I'm teaching the game, I try and go from the beginning like, hey, I'm just going to give you the overview. I know I'm going to forget small details as the things come up, situations come up. I will point them out. This is not me trying to take advantage. I'm just seriously, they are small, if then, fiddly things that you're not just going to remember off the cuff.
I have some friends that got super aggro about it. Now, if we used to, like back when we used to play board games together, post those incidents, I would just be like, hey, you know what? You hated my rules explanation. Congratulations. You're now the rules explainer. Deal with it. And they're like, well, and I was like, don't worry. I know you won't mess up any rules explaining this game for the first time to a large group of people. That's why you were so aggressive in your critique of me doing the same thing. It's because you're so much better at it.
You've been promoted. Yeah.
And so when something inevitably happens, I'm like, oh no, predictable outcome.
Who knew that they'd all be confused?
Jerks.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. I've learned in a lot of situations that you like the only acceptable response to some of those circumstances is just to make fun of the situation and then what happening. Like me being like, "Oh no, the rules! I have lost this game. I will never play Roll for the Galaxy again."
Right.
Me just be like, "Cast my dice into the shadows. I shall never roll. The galaxy shall remain unrolled forever because of this slight you have wielded against my person."
Right.
Usually somewhere they feel like I'm being over dramatic, and they're right.
They make a good point.
Yeah, just I see where they're coming from.
All right. Anything else for you, Eric, before we jump into the other portions?
Nah, I was gonna say live in the dream, but I'm not.
We would have believed you.
I'm getting by.
We're here.
Yeah, present.
Occasionally, when I go to sleep, I have a dream.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just have we're in performance review season at work, so I just have very specific, well targeted, and realistic work stress dreams.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, no, I had a dream last night in which I know that I said the phrase, "I am choosing to take your feedback with the grace that I believe it was given," and I'm just like, I woke up and I just felt awful the entire day. I was just like, huh.
But you uttered those words like together and in that
Oh,
order.
in my brain.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So sorry.
It's fine. Just got a lot of brain noise happening.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Before the show started, we talked a lot about the various TV shows and stuff. I don't want to make us all retread things, so I'll just talk about one thing that we didn't talk about. I started watching a show called I May Destroy You. Mm-hmm. Have you all seen I May Destroy You?
I haven't, but I've heard good things.
Yeah. So I didn't really know what that show was. My wife had heard about it, so we're watching it, and it was a lot more than I thought it would be. But I'm enjoying it. It's it's about a writer. Oh, the show was written by Michaela Cole. She's also the star of the show, and she's a writer, and she likes to have fun. You know, there's some drug use, and just people doing some casual things. She's like, "Hey, we're here. We're high. Let's go." And unfortunately, she is raped, and she's trying to figure out. She's figuring out herself and figuring out like different pieces of how all this stuff kind of comes together. She keeps having these visions of things, and the show is it's very well written, but it's the kind of thing where I don't like, more now from what I've said than I knew when I went in, so you'll be fine. But I was just like, what? Like the first couple of episodes, I was just like, how did we get here? But it's very good. So, but yeah.
There's sort of a tension sometimes with like content around like the idea of cerebral, informative, or interesting content versus like enjoyable, fun, and like airy content. I find myself almost very fully in like the I'm only here to have a good time television, because like a movie that I enjoyed when I like a long time ago was Children of Men. I think it's fantastic.
That's a good movie.
I feel no need to ever watch it again.
Oh,
because I'm like, you know what? I watched it. It's a fantastic movie. It's gripping. It's cerebral. It is wholly end to end a bummer.
Yeah, it's like It's like I was at a friend's house some years ago, and I'm looking through their DVD. This is a while ago. Looking through their DVD selection. I'm just like, when are you gonna watch Rosewood again? Like, I don't know why. Like,
right, like the
I've
only
seen Rosewood.
DVD I keep out is Into the Spider-Verse, because one, it's available on none streaming services.
Is that right?
And two, it's the only movie that I routinely watch. I'll just like pop it in. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this like 10 times. I can just like have it on in the background.
My buddy Will watched Into the Spider-Verse, I think almost, I don't want to say every day, but like I think he got to 100-something views of that movie during 2020. So
that's a lot.
That is a lot. It's a very
like
good movie.
Every third day, more or less.
He's still alive. It kept him sane. It was worth
I dragged like 20 friends to the premiere of it, and they were like, is this gonna like, it's an animated Spider-Man. I was like, no, I am putting my reputation on the line as your local movie friend. And I was right. Like everyone walked out and they're like, this was incredible. And I was like, yeah, it was.
But most importantly, I was right. That's
absolutely that's the real takeaway.
Don't forget that part.
Well, I later used that as a lever to trick many of them into going to see Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters with me, which
That wasn't bad.
The first,
loved it.
I enjoyed
I
that
love
movie.
the Sonic movie.
I thought Jim
had a
Carrey
great
was
time.
funny.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
That was like
I-
one of
I
the
hope
better
they-
video game movies.
I
Indeed.
hope they include even more Olive Garden advertisements in that, like in that tragedy of a film. I love that movie. It is not good. I love it.
I could just say, whenever Olive Garden's not on the screen, you should be asking,
Where's the Olive Garden?
They brought back James Marsden.
There
which
are
was
literally
nice.
there are literally two characters on the phone, and they're talking about Olive Garden. And one of them says, "Well, I mean, when you're there," and the other one says, "Your family." And I'm like, how much did Olive Garden pay
They
for this
funded the entire
obscene level of
project.
product placement?
I mean, The Office.
I
had
will bow to
cheese
no
and
corporate
Sonic
sponsor.
had Olive Garden.
I mean, the thing is, on my birthday, Paramount was like, "Oh, ahead of the second Sonic movie, we're already greenlighting Sonic 3 and a Knuckles spin-off series."
What
And I
was
like,
that?
What?
Oh,
It was my gift to everyone else, I guess. Like
I just-
it was like a Christmas miracle, but in like mid-February.
I just saw a still image, but apparently there's a Blue's Clues movie coming out that has
Yeah.
all three hosts.
Yeah, Blue's Clues No Way Home or whatever.
Yeah, like yeah, that's.
Spoiler.
So there's
Yeah.
Steve, was it Joe, and who's the new host? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm excited for them. Fantastic.
I'm not gonna see it, but it looks yeah. Everything has to be a crossover. Or,
Ben brings up a valid point that I was a little saddened that they did remove Sonic's like horrifying people teeth from like, the first trailer.
I will still pay money to see that
as
entire
soon as I
movie.
saw it, I was like, ha, ha, ha.
They spent like $36 million or something like that, like
Oh,
redo.
I loved his awful people teeth.
And I feel like
They
they
were
could have
giving
just
me life.
they could have done a focus group with people who never even knew who Sonic was, and they would have said, "Don't do this."
The problem is, I would have been in there and I'd have been like, yes. In
Yeah.
fact, give him more. Two
Give him
rows
more
of teeth,
teeth.
like a shark.
Like Shark Teeth.
I want to leave that movie thinking about nothing but Sonic the Hedgehog's numerous rows of
of teeth that just regrow and regenerate every day.
Absolutely.
Oh no.
Just something that is so deeply, specifically traumatic.
Yeah, you know that thing that Sonic is really known for is his teeth.
His
It's
teeth.
just having so many teeth.
It's what allows him to run fast.
It's why he likes chili dogs so much. 3 rows
Yeah.
of teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, just like a beaver, if he
Yeah.
doesn't keep gnawing on chili dogs,
Yeah.
his teeth will grow up into his brain and kill him.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
yeah, that's called
that's-
nature.
That's lore. That's lore at this point.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's canon.
Idris
I mean,
Elba could tell you. He did all the research for Knuckles the Echidna by reading a bunch of Knuckles lore, and I'm like, did you read any fan fiction, Idris?
Have you been
There's no way he
scarred by that?
didn't, and I just want to know about it. That's all.
Is Big the Cat going to be in this? I don't know. I'm kidding.
Sonic 3, like, so all I'm saying is I'm pretty sure Metal Sonic is going to be in Sonic 2. I'd like that.
So
I'm hoping for Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic 3, just because
Mm.
I want these movies to keep getting made, because there is no bottom for these movies for me. Like, even if they just keep decreasing in quality, I will ride that train backwards into hell, and I will love it the entire way.
Backwards into hell.
Like, there's nothing
Where are
these
we
movies
going?
can do.
Where are we going?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing these movies can do to me that I won't just be like, yeah, no, that's good.
I see why you did that.
Yeah, I have an infinite tolerance for them.
Speaking of that, I started watching All of Us Are Dead on Netflix.
Yeah.
That made me angry.
Oh, did you? Okay, I haven't finished. I'm on episode 6.
I only
can't
made
do
it to, I think, episode 3 or 4. No, it's probably 3. But their lack of survival instinct, I was just like, come on, children.
You can do this. Come see,
on.
Fertessa, I love the cycle. I love this, how every episode is just like a mini zombie movie in and of itself, where somebody clearly gets bitten. They have a bite mark on their face, but
Right?
they're adamant. I was not bitten. It wasn't me. Why are you looking at?
That's
Scenario.
also just a microcosm for like these days, right?
It
Someone's
is.
like, I don't have the zombie sickness. I'm like,
I think you do.
There's blood coming out of your eye.
Right?
No, there's not. Like, okay.
What did it for me is there's so many sliding doors that aren't
Yes.
lockable. And I'm just like, that is not a safe space to hide.
No,
You don't have a way.
No, they're taking things to wedge into the other door. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
You have windows and sliding doors. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Okay. Question for you. What is the okay, I haven't seen the show, so I'm gonna ask a question that's probably not related to the show. What do you think is the worst facility or location to get stranded during a zombie apocalypse?
Probably a glass house. It depends on the type of zombie is the other thing, because everybody's zombie is different. Like, I don't know what the zombies in We Are All Dead are about.
These are like Dawn of the Dead remake Zack Snyder sprinting zombies.
Assume that you've got your like regular slow lumbering zombies. You don't have any fast ones. You don't have the big one that explodes and you shoot it too much. I've only really played Left 4 Dead 2.
What will be the worst place?
I have no idea. I don't consume a lot of zombie content because I don't like gore that much, and zombies are like...
Oh, you'd love this show. There's blood everywhere.
Yes, they are almost always kind of gory just by their sheer virtue.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say we're going to classic Walking Dead zombie, and they're only triggered really by sound.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, let's say you're trapped in an ice cream factory during a zombie apocalypse. What do? How do you solve this?
I mean, you're already in a pretty safe space. You just, are out of, like, nutrients and food, but you got freezers. You have places to lock them and to lock yourself.
That was ironically enough, this is one of the earliest conversations we ever had on this podcast.
That was 11 years ago.
What would you do if a zombie apocalypse happened? And my answer was I would climb into a freezer and wait to die. Because I do not want to live in a zombie apocalypse.
Wow.
I
Hope? What's that?
Dark but fair, frankly. Like I mean,
I don't want to get bit and turn. Just get this over with as fast as possible.
Hypothermia and that just okay.
I don't know. What am I going to do? Stab myself? That's pretty awful.
Yeah. I read a very good short writing prompt for a robot apocalypse where it was basically like, you know how they had that facial recognition thing with Hewlett-Packard a little while ago where Hewlett-Packard couldn't see black people on their cameras with the facial recognition software?
There was a lot of that everywhere, but yes.
There's a lot of it. Too much. And so that was their pitch for their robot apocalypse. It's just they built the robots with that facial recognition. And so it's just the stories, the short story, the short little blurb is just following a black family kind of going about their business, just going to the grocery store, buying stuff. And there's a robot apocalypse happening and they're like, we told them, we said it didn't work. And they were like, it's fine.
Yes, it is.
And they just stop in the street and a bunch of robots march past and they're like, I mean, at a certain point.
That's funny.
I guess it could have been worse, but yeah.
It's unfortunate, but
it's a pretty good prompt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's goofy. They keep having to put people in who seem to be safe for half an episode into peril because they have to.
Right.
And then you have the character, of course this brings out the worst in human nature where you have characters who are just the worst people possible who keep just surviving because their awfulness allows them to keep surviving. And you're shaking your fist at that cloud / the screen what are you doing?
There's something to that though, right? The idea that people who are already selfish jerks would be able to just because they're not necessarily thinking about, oh no, how do we make a cure? They're just oh no, how do I build a basement that's big enough for me that no one knows about? And that's a simpler problem to solve, unfortunately. And you're just I don't like that the story rewards that kind of behavior.
The problem is these people are taking the door, your front door of your safe house and putting it onto their basement. That's the problem. Can I borrow your door? Well, why? Just give me the door.
Right?
That's the other part.
No, I'm susceptible. Well, I have your door. Okay.
It's a zombie apocalypse doesn't come by itself. It comes with the apocalypse part where you have to also survive the other people who are trying to make ends meet and will do whatever.
I really liked the apocalypse. Have y'all played Horizon Zero Dawn?
No, I probably should. Now that the sequel's out.
Are you familiar with the general premise of it?
Yes, I do know it's a world that kind of was more like our own but got destroyed and kind of
it's an apocalypse, but it's kind of almost a gray goo apocalypse. Like basically robots ruined the entire world. So you've got this like kind of like somewhat prehistory kind of societies are re-emerging, like very hunter-gatherer-y, like very small cities at best. But now instead of hunting like deer and like, I don't know, giraffes or something, they hunt these robot equivalents of them that have evolved that have like similar shapes to those kind of animals. Like it's a very cool like idea for it, because it's so much of it's like, oh, it's still kind of a post-apocalyptic, but it's very much now like the robots are still around in like these kind of animalish forms. Very cool conceit.
What are they hunting these robot
parts?
Oh, okay, got it.
Because they use the parts from them, like they use them in like traditional fashions to like weave clothes. So you've got people who have like these ornate like metal bandings to their like armor or their like tunics or something, or like a crown that's made like a backdrop of a crown that's made out of like folded like metal pieces or metal tail fins from like an animal, and like they're golden or they're painted with like bright colors. And so it's really interesting to see actually how they use those parts and those pieces to like fold those things together.
Yeah, I've been thinking about starting it because
yeah, it's like, I mean, it's open world, so you can get lost in a little bit, but I got through it in like 30-40 hours.
Yeah, I'm good.
You could probably get through it in 20 if you hustle.
If you skip half the game.
Yeah, if you skip all the side plots, and you're just like, pfft.
I didn't finish Ratchet and Clank for the PS5, so I don't know. I might be hopeless at this point.
Have you played the Miles Morales game for the PS5?
Started it.
That's only like 20 hours. That is a reasonably like paced game.
Only 20 hours. Okay.
Yeah, I still feel like we say only 20.
How long you want a game to be?
Like one, maybe
20 is reasonable.
30 minutes.
You want a 1 hour game?
20 is reasonable, but it's just
a board game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a mindset.
Mine was reasonable. I mean, I just played Sleeping Gods campaign though, and that took us like 20-25 hours. So I was like, a long board game.
Wait, Sleeping Dogs like the video game?
Sleeping Gods.
Okay. I was gonna say there's a board game version of Sleeping Dogs that I haven't heard about.
There might be.
Probably. I mean, it's possible.
That was a very enjoyable game.
I have Shovel Knight still sitting up there unopened. I need to crack that open and actually play it.
It's fun. I like the easy mode a lot because it's easy and I just don't have time for things.
Hey,
like
no judgment here.
That's been my fix for a lot of these games. It's like I played Horizon Zero Dawn on easy, and so like they're like, oh no, a metal robot T-Rex, and I was like, why would someone make this? And then I just like beat it down with a stick, and I was like, great, it's on easy mode, fantastic.
With a stick too. Look at that.
I was really good with the stick.
All right, Mike. I somehow skipped you. What have you been up to?
That's all right. No worries. I see you've got, I guess, one thing maybe I'll touch on from your list. The Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett series that has been coming through Disney Plus. It started off, I had no idea what to expect, and my initial thought was, okay, this isn't bad. I like how this is starting, and it kind of was just like, well, this is a show that's on. And then all of a sudden it became Mandalorian season 3, and I was like, wow, this is great for 2 episodes. And then there was the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and it was like, oh, well, at least it's over. And yeah, like the text thread that we had going where I was all excited about watching it, and then you noticed I didn't respond at all after watching. Yeah, it was like, oh,
yeah, I did notice because I was excited. Okay. I really enjoyed the finale, but I did think about, he never said how he felt about it. That says everything.
This isn't one of those like I'm angry about it things. It was just like, okay, all right. Yeah, I don't really have any feelings about that last episode other than just
I liked it. It was fun.
At least there's not another one I have to worry about.
Wow. You did like it.
I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it. It was just stupid and it went nowhere.
I loved it. I'm all about Boba Fett and the cool teens. To be fair, I could watch a TV show that's just Ming Na Wen reading the phone book for like 2 hours.
Oh, I mean,
like,
she's
like,
great.
Yeah, she is great.
She kind of like, without her, Boba Fett would just be like,
a guy
do you have any opinions or thoughts or strategies or motivations or
keep handing me money? I'm the daimyo. Just hand me money.
I mean, you know, once you got your armor back, it was just sort of like, well, I guess you fulfilled well, you care about, do you care? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when
he meets some cool teens and he's like, you're my life now. I don't know if you've met the cool teens yet, Fertessa.
No.
Oh, look forward to it. There's some cool teens.
Yeah, they have colors that no one else seems to have in the galaxy.
They're very cool. I love this.
Yeah. Yes, Ben. Fennec Shand is Fennec Shand is awesome.
I don't know that the mods are cool.
Oh, they're extremely cool teens.
They're there.
They got bikes. What makes a team cooler than having a cool bike?
Cool bike. No. When you said they had bikes, I'm not going to argue with you and say they have bikes. When you say they're cool bikes, no, I do not participate.
I'm hearing what you're saying. I don't understand any of it.
Vespas in space are not cool.
They live in Mos Vespa. I'm like 20% sure that's what the town's name was called.
Just
all right.
Vespa.
Fairly something enough, but like it just those scenes were so bad. They just looked atrocious.
They weren't moving fast enough. That's the problem.
Yeah,
they weren't high speed chases. They were just speed chases. There was some velocity, not much, but
it was a clumsy sort of chase through. Like I don't know. That's when I thought like, well, I don't know. I guess this show is just stupid. And then it's somebody who was looking in on it said, yeah, actually, we need to do something about this. And they just inserted what I assume was probably just episodes 1 and 2 of Mandalorian season 3. Because the first one literally didn't even have Boba Fett in it at all, except for in one flashback scene. Not even flashback. The you know, what happened in a previous episode segment.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode, they checked in on him just so they could say, I'm not dead yet. And then they went back to seeing what the Mandalorian had to say about things. Like,
whose name is, what's his name again?
Din
Djarin. Okay.
So, much more interesting character at this stage.
I watched Book of Boba Fett, and it made me want to become a crime lord with a bunch of cyborg teens with their own bikes. I was like, oh man, this seems like the high life.
I want a back to tank. I mean, that's my personal goal.
That would be pretty dope to have. It's that, except for it seems like he needed it so much, right? And then he gets attacked while using it.
Make sure it works. I mean,
and then it's just sort of like, I need to crawl back in to finish my sessions, which apparently he needed so many. Like it was like
he's not a young man. I mean, it's.
But then the next scene, it was just like, I am fully healed now. Like,
that's what it does.
After the guy practically killed you, he ripped you out and took you to within one breath of death. And then you got back in for 5 minutes and you were like, I'm good.
I don't know.
Maybe it didn't work up until that moment.
Yeah, when he attacked him inside the tank, he accidentally bumped one of the pipes and realigned it so it actually worked. And he's like, "Oh,
it for you."
Yeah.
He was just slowly drowning all those other episodes.
It was a happy accident.
See, that's why they were friends later.
Yeah. Also, like, to be fair, if a Wookiee wants to be friends with you, you're friends with the Wookiee. Like,
That's true.
I don't think Wookiees have like bi-directional friendship. They just have sort of the like, we're friends. And you're like, okay.
I'm not ripping your arm off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't want my arm ripped off.
Here's a tip: let the Wookiee win.
Yeah.
So we're in the chat. Ben Osteen says, it featured the mods versus the rockers, which is a weird
Mm-hmm.
reference. And the game that's saying they get a deprivation tank. I guess if you don't want to back to tank, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That also seems like an interesting concept that I if it cost me little to no money, I would be interested to see how that feels. But I do not believe that has a very similar kind of end result.
Also, if you think people are trying to kill you, you probably don't want a deprivation tank.
Unless I don't care whether I die or not.
Well,
in which case,
if you've
bring it
lost
on.
interest in life, then get
Especially like kill me while I don't know what's going on and make it quick.
I think about what was it? Didn't Ben Affleck have one of those in the Daredevil movie?
You're asking me to remember anything about the Daredevil movie?
That's a void for me. I've repressed that.
Forget I said anything.
I was like, Ben Affleck was in Daredevil?
So what were you asking about Daredevil?
Did he have deprivation? That reminds me of something I feel like Ben Affleck had as Daredevil in the movie.
A deprivation chamber?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. See, thank you. Okay. I knew
For
I wasn't
some reason,
crazy.
I vaguely remember that movie. I liked it when I saw it, but I mean,
it was pre-MCU and stuff. It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't Blade, but it wasn't.
I have not
Howard the Duck either, so it's
post 13 years old, so I can't judge it as an adult. But the child in me enjoyed it at the time. Mm-hmm.
The young adult in me that snuck out of work to go see it during an extended lunch break enjoyed it at the time. I was like, "This is the film."
I did walk out of the Ghostrider movie. I remember that.
Which one?
The first one. We were just like. Okay. No, and then we just left.
But you paid money for it, though. That's why I can never leave. If I pay money, I'm gonna stay.
There's a certain point where my time is more valuable than the ticket. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I hear you.
I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie. I think I fell asleep on one movie, but that was one that I had to go see with my mom, and I had no business watching.
I fell asleep on Attack of the Clones. I woke up when Yoda was fighting. I was like, "Oh wow, okay."
I did actually watch Ghostrider years later, and then I fell asleep. I still haven't actually seen the full movie.
There's a sequel as well.
I've seen the sequel. The sequel's terrible.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad.
No one's surprised by this shocking revelation.
Ben Osteen threw in here Colin Farrell as Bullseye. Yeah, he really was having fun with that role. He was attempting to eat up those scenes. So
I swear, Colin Farrell is abysmal in 80 to 90% of the things that he does.
Total Recall comes to mind.
I find him to be just one of the worst actors that keeps getting cast again and again. I'm not saying he's never done anything that's good at all.
You're not wrong.
Every time someone tells me Colin Farrell, I think they're talking about Colin Firth for no reason. And then I'm always like, are you sure?
They're not the same.
Was Colin Firth Bullseye? And then I realized, they mean an entirely different man.
Yeah.
Those are very different actors.
Yeah, absolutely. I did think Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg were the same guy for a long time, and that made watching The Departed, where they get in a fist fight, very confusing. I did not realize they were different people until they started fist fighting each other, and I was like,
"Who am I rooting for again?"
Oh no!
Everyone lied.
I had to rewatch the movie. I was like,
"That's a good movie."
I missed so much of this.
That's a good movie.
That's pretty great.
All right, Mike, is that
that's fine. Yeah,
is that for you? Fertessa, what games have you been enjoying as of late when you're not making them?
I wanted to. Can I show my favorite show?
Yeah.
I just want to say that I've been getting into a groove, watching anime because I had fallen off on new ones, and I found a really good one called Ranking of Kings.
This is a new one to me as well.
Yeah, and it's super. The drawings themselves are super, super cute, but the topic is very serious, which is the perfect mix for me. Mm-hmm. It's there's a tiny, very diminutive prince, and he is the son of giants. But he is both very, very tiny, Thumbelina tiny, and very, very weak. And he is also deaf, but he has this very high optimism, and he is surviving this world, and everybody in the court still respects him. Well, not everybody, but people in the court respect him, and they all learn sign language and communicate with him through sign language. And he's just living his life. He's determined to become the next king, and be great no matter what other people are saying. But it's not just one of those head in the clouds and there's no reality. They tackle these very serious things and legitimate issues, and he actually has trials to face, and I just really love it. I'm really enjoying it.
What are you watching it on?
Crunchyroll.
Oh, okay. I don't subscribe to that. Maybe I should.
I was using it for Digimon for a while.
Ooh, I heard they just made a new version of Digimon, which was rehashing the
they
original.
did. A lot of people don't like it. I'm finding that I have literally. I don't know if it's just that I don't feel like critiquing some things, or if I just don't care. But I'm like, it was fun. Was it like, this is a really hard-hitting look at the fealty and the power behind a child's idea? No, it's a Digimon show. Yeah. Jesus.
Turn your brain off and enjoy.
Yeah, I'm not looking for deep meaning here.
I still want to check it out.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it.
Monster kind of guy, but yeah, it's whatever. It's
Monster Ranch was great. That was like the best video
game.
Didn't they
remaster those games?
Okay, I said that being silly, not thinking I was going to get an actual response. Oh, that was my mistake.
I was like,
that's on me.
Just announced a remaster of those.
I mean, I won't say about the show. The show was the show, but I gotta say it was pretty genius to make it that putting in CDs into your PlayStation to create these different monsters, and you didn't know what it was unless you had a cheat book. Was really, really interactive and entertaining. And
hey, Panda's in the house.
For hours. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like now they in the remake they made for Switch. I think they have like a cloud service that you can just get individual songs from.
That's cool.
Oh,
that's really cool.
But
I did not know they did.
Have they monetized that, or how does?
No, I think it's just part of the game. I mean, it'll shut down at some point, the same way that like pour one out for the Wii U and 3DS eShop.
Yes.
I'm like, no. Where are people supposed to play Xenoblade Chronicles X, that one Xenoblade game that no one cares about but me?
I mean, people saw this coming. Look what they did with the Wii, and
yeah.
So.
It's still also. I was actually, that's not true. I was about to say it's still the only platform you can get Majora's Mask on, and then I was like, no wait, it comes out on Switch Online a week from tomorrow, and I was like, my boy, my game.
Oh, we talked about this at Unplugged. I like the idea of that game so much, but the idea of repeating things and not moving fast enough just always bothered me about it.
Yeah. I first played it when I was like 8 years old, and it was me, an 8-year-old, being like, this is the most profound thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I truly have read numerous critiques of it. They're all fair. I'm like, Breath of the Wild is, in my opinion, the best Zelda game currently made.
Mm-hmm.
Majora's Mask is my favorite, and I am capable of holding those two different things in my brain because I'm just like, nah. My housemate's is Link's Awakening. She's a big Link's Awakening fan, so I just play the Battle of the Windfish in my room, and I can like hear her getting like every so often. It's a good game.
I feel like Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, the first time I beat it, were like the best experiences I had. And I beat Twilight Princess. I got through most of what was the cartoony one?
Wind Waker?
Wind Waker.
I'd say go through Wind Waker again. I really like Wind Waker.
It's just the original on the GameCube. I didn't appreciate the stuff at the end, having to find all that crap, like just to make the game longer.
They fixed that for HD. Like
they did.
HD version that they made for the Wii U, they were like, we're sorry. That was churlish of us. And they just like, they smoothed over that entire thing.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
It is.
Sorry, Fertessa, back to you.
No worries. Yeah, so that's the show I just wanted to touch on. And as
Ranking
far as
of Kings.
Yes. As far as the game recently, I don't know if you consider it recent, but I've really been enjoying Dune Imperium, still enjoying it every time I can get to that on the table. King's Dilemma, I have a group and we are almost at the very end of the campaign. It's my very first campaign game that I've played.
Okay.
And quite enjoyed it, or I am quite enjoying it. All of the you get to basically represent a house, kind of Game of Thrones style, and you're trying to influence the land, the kingdom, and have a king come from your home, or your house, I should say. And if you I guess, win a session, then your king is who's going to succeed the throne next, because the king dies every session.
Bummer for that guy.
And so you're trying to get these things done and influence the politics before he dies or is overthrown from that particular era. But it's just fun because you can name the king. Mines are all different Klingon names. Like the last one was King Raktajino. So it's just nice, and it's fun to play with people that you know. I wouldn't necessarily have fun with it if I was playing with strangers, because it's very much kind of a, not a role play, but it's very much about vibes and how you're interacting with other people.
So I'm just imagining like a throne room, and they're like, "Who hath you brought before us with such rancid vibes?" And like that's just, I don't know if that's what the game is, but that's just how the game's playing out in my head now.
Yes.
How many hours you think you've put in, or sessions of through the campaign?
I would say you could get through a session in 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, that feels about right, because we always get through 2 to 3, maybe 4 if we're pushing it, if the king dies really quickly. But the actual game mechanics are super simple, because you have money that's there only to bribe people, and you have influence, and you are just making decisions and trying to use your influence to get one of 2 decisions made, and you have your own agenda that you could benefit from depending on which of the decisions go through and affect the kingdom, or not. You could just sow chaos, but people don't know why you're choosing to vote for A or B. They only know, oh, Fertessa's trying to bribe me. Why is that? Do I need the money? Yes. Maybe I don't ask questions. Maybe that's not important. I'll take the money. So because you don't win because of the money. You only win based off of your private objectives. So it's really about negotiating, but not like Twilight Imperium and negotiating. This is just kind of like, are you going to vote this way? Maybe. Keep it moving. So I like the simplicity of that. Despite how much comes out, it's really simple, kind of straight to the point.
It's kind of game where your facial expressions can doom you if you you don't get control over them.
Kind of depends on how you play it. If you're a smooth talker, again, I have a resting mischief face, so I always look like I'm up to no good, but that doesn't mean I can't strike a deal, especially because I have all that nice bribing money, and they don't know what I want. It could be something that they also need to happen, and they don't have time to worry about whether or not that helps me or what my motivations are, because depending, a lot of these different decisions can be kind of moral, like, hey, this group discovered a bunch of books, and the kingdom really doesn't like that. Should we burn the books? And it's just like, of course we don't burn the books. What are we? But I'm just like, 2 coins says maybe we think about it. Yes.
Oh yeah, I was giving off the I came here to lead, not to read vibes.
Yeah, Panda's enjoying your description of resting mischief face.
It's a thing. I'm very, very bad at what do you call them?
Poker
Not
face?
deception games. Nope.
No.
Actually, my poker face is great because it's always this face.
Social deception. Okay.
Yeah, social deduction. There we go.
For social deduction, I always have to like imagine that I'm in a situation where I am exactly where I am the good player. What arguments would I have to make for that to be true?
Mm-hmm.
And I just basically, I'm not lying. I'm just operating from a faulty world in which my information is just different. And so people are just like, what? I'm not lying. I'm just out of touch with reality. It's a much harder thing to read.
My issue is that with the social deduction games, I am almost always, I will say 90 to 95% of the times, the good or innocent party, but I will look like I'm up to no good. And so I will always be killed or kicked out. And I'm just like, guys, I was like the angel or whatever. But yeah, whatever. You don't need that.
I recently played some Obscurio and had a really good time being the traitor, watching everybody just argue with each other and not realize it was me till like the last 15 minutes of the game.
That was actually really fun. I just got to play that, and I was the traitor that time. But it actually made it harder for them to win once they did find out I was the traitor, because reverse psychology.
Yeah, I doomed them. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I tend to be the person in my group who like has the games, and so if you're the person who has the games, you also bear the penalty of like, if we can't figure out who the traitor is, it's probably just such and such playing really well. And you're like, so I like social deduction a little bit less genre wise now, especially longer form ones, because it's just, if I'm ever the bad guy, I almost can never get away with it, because even if I'm doing well, then people take in the metagame compensation of, if we don't know who the traitor is, odds are it's Eric just playing a really good game. And you're like, that sucks for me, guys.
Yeah.
You've taken the fun out of this. I'm going home now.
Right. You just have to end up having to play things like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, where you just shuffle things around enough. Like, I'm the traitor. Like sometimes.
Yeah. But it is continuous throughout Obscurio.
Right.
Sure.
I kind of like how Coup does it, because you have the two roles and they constantly shuffle. So it's just like.
Have you played Blind Coup before?
No.
Oh, you just don't look at your rolls. Just pretend to. It's very fun.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's I whenever I'm playing with new players, I'll play that. Like that's how I like to teach the game to new players, is that I'll be like, so you all look at your roll cards, and they'll go, yep, and I'll go like this and hold up my cards and not look at them, and then put them back down. And they don't see that happening, so they assume I looked at them, and I'm just like, I'm the Duke. I've always been the Duke. I'm frankly offended that you don't refer to me as the Duke, a role that I've always had. And they're like, I don't think you are the Duke. And I was like, let's find out. And I look at both my cards like, guess I am. And they're like, I couldn't read you at all. It's like, it's really hard to read information off of me when I don't know the answer.
I'm about to try that. We didn't play Coup in a long
fun
time. That was one of the first games that we got into a couple of years ago. We played a lot of Coup. There's
a game some friends of mine made at Suzuki Studios called Cake Duel, which is like it's a combat-y version of like what a two-player Coup would be. Mm-hmm. So you basically can attack and defend with certain types of cards, but you can lie about the types of cards that you play. So like soldiers and archers can only be blocked by defenders. Wizards can only be blocked by scientists, because scientists disprove the wizard's magic. But you can lie, and I can put down like 2 defenders and say these are 2 wizards, and so you can call me on my bluff, or you can try and defend against my attack. And I really like that version of it, because you can just look at the other player, shuffle your hand, pull one card out, put it down, say, this one's a wizard. And they're like, and I was like, it could be a 25% chance if you know what cards I have in my hand, but you don't. I do. So did I even do that good of a job shuffling? It's impossible to say.
I'm gonna try what Ben Osteen has in the chat. Just say, don't be suspicious, and then everybody will know that you're not being suspicious. And
you just promise favors after the game. You're like, if you vote like, that's that's the way to play it. I think I once played a round of 2 Rooms in a Boom where I like formed a religious cult that was like completely unrelated to the actual game itself. I just kept telling people like, if you truly have faith, you don't need to see my card. You can just trust me based on faith alone. And they're like, you're right. I don't really know what that means, but it happened. Just a weird evening.
It takes 2 to lie, 1 to lie, and 1 to listen.
Mm-hmm. We played that once, but it was too much chaos at one time, so I didn't get what's happening. I was just
it's
shuffling. It's like it's so big.
For me, if I'm gonna play a social deduction game, I want everyone to have something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Donald Corky says, my friends will not let me forget the game of Resistance, where I took all 3 defectors on the final mission with me. Nice.
That's usually not good, I played a game of Resistance Avalon like that once, where like we got to the 5th mission, and I was like, hi everyone, it's really important for me to tell you now that we've done 5 rounds of voting. If we don't approve this mission, then the bad guys win. So we have to approve this mission. Also, I'm in charge of it. I am bad. You've let me go on every single mission, and that was your mistake. But I am just filling it with every bad person. So you can either vote it down and we win, or you can vote it up and we win. And I'm fine with either. So like, discuss amongst yourselves. Take some time. Vote when you're ready.
No pressure on me.
Yeah, no. I'm chill no matter what. Like, this is
whatever happens.
Yeah, they were how you would say not pleased.
Yeah. I'd imagine. Yeah. All right, Fertessa, what else you been playing?
Yeah.
Let's see, BGA a lot. So I've been on that Seven Wonders Duel, For Sale, Dice Forge, and
you were beating the crap out of me in Dice Forge last year.
Wait, I was gonna say, Fertessa, hit me up on BGA. I need to review Dice Forge at some point. Is what I keep telling myself, and I just like it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this in person, and I feel like there's one concept I'm probably like on what triggers how many times the dice roll because it's automated. So I probably wouldn't know that in person, but I love it on BGA. It is the best.
Y'all have to play with you again because I thought I might almost maybe not win, but like be within like 10 points of you. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And it's sitting on the shelf too. I want to play the physical version. I just haven't. Yeah,
man.
I'll get to it.
One day.
You can. I was gonna say when I do this, you can kind of see the holes in my shelf that I'm like trying to like unsubtly cover.
Yes.
No judgment.
I mean, you're doing a good job.
Well, those are the spots that I tend to put games that I'm like trying to imminently review in those spots. So when I take them off the shelf, the hole that it leaves behind is covered by me, and that mostly works.
I noticed that most of your things are vertical. I kind of just put them up however they fit.
Yeah, I got to do this one. I was doing this on Twitch, so it was like these rows are all really nicely organized properly by height. The rows above it that you can't really see are a complete mess.
Okay.
Because I basically was just like, oh, I got to the point where only my small games are left. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be organized super well.
I just bought one of those bins for the Calixes and just put all those in there and just put it all in one unit.
It's probably smart. I got some of those like like those hanging onto the shelf like little the metal racks, and so I can actually stack the games vertically that way, and that actually works really well. It fits all my button shies. Well, fits most of my button shies.
Okay, I like that. That's more visible than my solution. You just gave me an idea. Well, the idea that you already did. Anyway.
You've given me an idea. Yeah. What if I got this shelf thing? I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah. How did I arrive here?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So, Fertessa, we definitely need to continue with some Dice Forge in the near future.
Continue Dice Forge. I played Oath, which I was surprised by how much I really enjoyed that. I mean, I liked Root, but I felt like I really loved Oath, and it, to me, it was doing what not Legendary. What are those games called? The games that you can rip up.
Exit?
What'd you say?
No, I said Exit, which isn't correct.
No.
Like
Legacy?
Gloomhaven. Legacy.
To
me, it was a new take on a legacy game because you weren't ripping anything up, but you were leaving a setup behind that would affect the next game, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, and it comes with a cute little journal, so you can also like write what happened in your game and kind of keep track of the things and the changes. So
yeah, I like describing the post game as like a quick story because I can be like, oh well, this happened, we thought this was going to happen, but suddenly,
exactly,
it lets the narrative be emergent.
Yeah, and that's just really fun. So, and it doesn't tie one group to that game like a legacy might. With this one group, creates this setup and which will affect the next game, but it could be an entirely different group that plays the next game. So, it's just really fascinating to play. Like as a designer, I was just like, what? These are so cool. But also just as a player, I found that I did not struggle because with Root, you had like 4 or 5 asymmetrical roles that you would have to learn. But with this one, it was basically 2 different asymmetrical roles. There's still complexity, but I felt that you actually might want to start with O first and then go to root when it comes to asymmetrical rolls. And I had my first game night at my apartment where I hosted, and they brought one game and I taught one game. I will not mention the name of the game that they brought out because I won't do that, but I did not enjoy that because there were brown meeples coming off the boats to work on the plantation, and I was not.
That game. I'm like, oh,
we're not playing this. We're not.
Colonists, they say.
Like,
we're gonna push this to the side.
Month of February, this is the game, your favorite game that you wanted to bring on.
You weren't even halfway through February at that point. There was no reason. No reason.
I started saying that's no way to celebrate Black History Month, basically apropos of nothing, whenever I want during the year. Like, it's mid-July, and I'm like, that is no way to celebrate Black History Month. And they're like, it's July. And I was like, yeah. Imagine you pulling this in February.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was that. But now I've played it. I can say I've played it. I always play a game that I have not played at least once, just mechanically, but it was very distasteful to play. And then I brought out Calico, and it was great. Yeah. And it was like we played a 4-player game of Calico, so it was the biggest count. I usually play like 2 people. So that was super fun because every single time I try to explain how the patterns work, I was like, it's very simple what you're doing on your turn, but don't be fooled. You're gonna have to decide if you want cats or if you want buttons, or if you want these goals. You're not gonna get all 3. The toxic trait me wants all 3 and tries for that. But to the people that I'm teaching, you wanna just concentrate on 2 because it's gonna break your brain.
That sounds, I have punched that game and it is begging to be played. But yes, the brain burningness is something that I hear from everyone. They're just like, you're gonna want to do it all and you just can't.
You are always going to want to do it all. And it's just, cats don't want you to do, they are very realistic cats. Okay, you are going to want to bring them to your quilt. And to do that, you will have to sacrifice things that you wouldn't want to. It's just...
That's why I'm like a Cascadia man, because like when I'm playing Calico, I'm like, cats, buttons, quilts. When I'm playing Cascadia, I'm like, tiles. I've done it. Bears, fish, bears. And like I'm more relaxed. Like I can feel my entire body clench during Calico.
Yeah. I feel like those two are in such a similar boat that you're either like one or the other. Like I've played both, I enjoy both, but I'm more of a Calico person because it allows me to tunnel vision. And with Cascadia, it's kind of more of a, I have no idea how I'm going to score at the end. And I can have kind of an idea whenever I'm doing Calico.
That's fair.
But people really love Cascadia because they don't know, and because, you know, there's so much variety going on. So I think they both managed to scratch an itch, and one of those games fits. If you don't like Cascadia, you'll probably like Calico.
I'm going to throw Overboss in there as well because
I've heard that's really good.
That's another good one.
I have heard it's great.
Yeah, I like Cascadia quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fertessa, my not that this is similar in any way, but my also inherited, like I haven't played this game and I should play it at some point. I finally got around to playing Castles of Burgundy. That was fun. I prefer Tuscany, which makes me like a heretic in some board game circles, and that's fine. I love that iconoclasm dream there, but yeah, it was fun. You know,
I bought Tuscany at Barnes and Nobles. It was like $25, and I was like, I have the Burgundy dice game, which I really like.
I have that.
It's a really fun 15-minute solo game. It's Jess taught it to me. Very fun game.
Oh, it's a solo game.
Oh yeah, you can play it solo.
Maybe I can actually play it. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite good. But I feel like I got Tuscany just because it was on sale, and I was like, I actually took it back.
That's how they get you.
And got something else. So I was like, I just bought this because it was on sale. But I I want to play it, but I rather own the original.
Yeah,
and play that
I would argue it's simpler. It's a Castle of Burgundy with reduced complexity, where I would call Burgundy like a complex game almost, especially for like people who would probably just grab it randomly. I would say Tuscany is probably closer to a like strategy. Yeah. It's Ticket to Burgundy. Like it's Ticket to Ride with a little bit of Castle of Burgundy. Like it's a nice. I like it because I think it's a nice blend of the two things. But it is really like there are some people. Panda in the chat prefers Tuscany.
Is it Ticket to Ron Burgundy or just Burgundy?
Oh, that would be a different game. It's a different energy.
San Diego. Okay.
All right. That's one I want to play. There was another. It was like Mad Castles, King Ludwig. Between two castles.
There's between two castles of Mad King Ludwig, and then there is Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
Mm-hmm. That's confusing, but
continue. Yeah, Mad King Ludwig is a game of just like saying. How much would you like to experience analysis paralysis? Does it compel you? Do you want to watch someone suffer
while waiting for your own turn?
Like, would you like someone else's turn to take 15 minutes?
Yes.
You're like, it's a fun game. It's just like I prefer Suburbia nowadays.
That sounds horrible.
Well, I think the theme is more fun in Ludwig. Well, it's basically other players get to choose the cost of things in a like fixed market, so they can shift around the market to accommodate what they want things to cost. So it means that in order for someone to make a decision, they have to look at everyone's castle. They have to consider every combination of where tiles can go. They have to think about where you might place those tiles. They have to look at how much money you have. They have to think about how much you might pay for that tile. They have to think, oh, would they still buy it if it was this? And then once they put one in place, they're like, oh, but wait, actually, that makes more sense here. I got to do this whole thing again for a different tile. And so they do that like 6 or 7 times.
And if you're new, you also have to mentally translate all of those icons because there's a reference card, but it's not... I felt it wasn't enough. I was still very confused. And between two castles of Mad King Ludwig ups the chaotic energy because that one's competitive.
Is it cooperative till it's not?
Yeah, because one person wins, but you have to you have the castles between you and another player on each side. And you are playing to both castles. And if one castle is doing better than the other, it's bad for you. But still at the end, you want to have the person who had the most points expensive castle. It was too much. It was too much for me because I need to be able to see it right in front of me to concentrate. And it's on your sides. And it requires you to also be aware of a lot of things, so that wasn't great. So I was much more just a plain Castle of King Ludwig, but both of them have this kind of complexity of engine building.
Yeah, Ben Osteen says Castles of Mad King Ludwig, a game. It's definitely a game you could play. And Dino Corgi says, Fertessa says there's a reference card the way someone might say this airplane has an exit. I'm like, you could get off of here, but where?
I need to try the second edition of Suburbia. I have that sitting on a shelf, and I'm a big Suburbia fan because I'm just like hexes. City building is one of my favorite like genres of games because I just find it a very like fun. It reminds me of growing up playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and just being like theme park construction.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
That's the game. That's the IP that someone really needs to make a board game out of. And they're like, you mean like Coaster Park? And I'm like, we don't talk about Coaster Park.
I'm not bringing it up
anymore. Happy City?
I have played Happy City. It's delightful.
Yeah, I like that.
It's on the shelf. I need to play it. I have not played it.
Game Rat's been making some good moves the last couple. Like they always make good moves. They're making some particularly good moves the last couple of years. The Bandinal Artichokes, Happy City, like that
Super
sort of
Mega
stuff.
Lucky Box.
Yeah, I like Super Mega.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I like game with name.
Yeah. Use word for a game
rather than talk.
All right. Fertessa, are those the things that you've enjoyed?
Yes.
All right.
Those are the things I've enjoyed.
Eric, how about you?
What have I been enjoying lately? Sorry, my brain was like, the depression makes it difficult for me to enjoy things, and I was like, get that out of here. Me, notes from my therapist. I have really liked. I really liked the Adventures of Robin Hood. I think I talked about it a little bit earlier. That one's been a lot of fun. Gosh, what else are we playing? I'm gonna have to look now to see what I played in the last month, which is always embarrassing because I always feel like I should have a better sense of it, but I don't.
BG stats is the only reason I know anything.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm just gonna set it to like from January 1st to today. Thumbnails on BGG. This is why we have multiple monitors, right? Actually, I haven't played that many things. So I've been playing a lot of Button Shy stuff.
Okay.
Like I went to Button Shy's booth at PAX Unplugged. I accidentally sold some games for them.
I heard. Yes. They're very effective.
I really like Button Shy. I don't know. They're just a fun publisher. They got fun themes. Everything's so easy to learn. I played Lost Ruins of Arnak finally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was good. Arnak was fun. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's good. I tried Machi Koro 2. Twice as much Machi or twice as much Koro. I'm not sure which. Might be twice as much of both. That was fun. Let's see here. What else? Oh, I played Skate Summer. Pandasaurus's like rockin' skateboarding game.
I did the demo. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was fun. I enjoyed it. That Time You Killed Me was pretty interesting. Let's see here.
I played that with Panda. Really good time. It was a draw.
That makes sense.
And we'd still be playing it, actually.
In some timeline, you are still playing it.
It's true.
I played. So Haba had a series called The Key, which was like a real-time deduction game. I played the latest one, Theft at Cliff Rock Villa. Liked that one a lot as well.
How is that one? I haven't opened it yet. I need to.
So I think that this isn't really a critique of the game because actually, short answer is I think the game's a lot of fun. Liked it a lot. I think that my enjoyment of the Key series would have been higher if I had played them in a slightly different order. If I had played Cliff Rock, Lucky Llama Land, and then Murder at the Golf Course, I'm 20% sure that's the actual name. I probably would have liked each of them a little bit more, but I played them in a different order, which I still liked all of them. It's just that after playing the harder one, playing an easier one made me think, but what if this were the harder one? And I wish I had played the hardest one last, because I'm now poisoned and I'm like, I kind of just want to play like the hard one is really, really fun. Yeah. The easy ones are still really fun, but they're not quite as like complex. And the part of my brain that wants like deduction complexity, the part of my brain that loves cryptid, really, the one that's just like cryptid. It's like, but give me some of that deduction complexity, right? Like favorite games of mine are like Cryptid, Search for Planet X. I really like the real-time elements of the Key. I do want to see what the like expert difficulty for the Key looks like. So I'm hoping Haba brings some more over. Because I think there are 3 in the US, and then there should be a few more coming. Nope, there's only 3 right now. Who knows? Yeah, that's most of what I've been playing lately.
Okay.
Yeah, it ain't bad.
All right, Mike, how about you?
I really haven't played a whole lot. I guess the one thing I dabbled with very briefly is the one set of pinball tables that I did not own on the At Games table is the Zachariah Volume 5, which are deluxe versions of existing tables, and these are ones that are all like the Zen pinball games where there's like things that could never happen on a real pinball table, like an animated guy wandering around or things like that. I don't really enjoy that stuff very much, but it was on sale for the first time where you didn't have to buy anything else to get a discount on it. So I was like, I'll pick them up. And I poked at a few, and yeah, they're not my favorite games, and they don't feel to me like they run as well. Like it feels to me like there's a very slight slowdown to everything, and I'm not into that either. So I don't recommend them, at least on a personal level. But yeah, I mean, mostly what I'm looking for is, with what I have access to, the closest thing to a reproduction of real pinball tables, or realistically buildable pinball tables. As I mentioned before, the Darius game is kind of my favorite of the whole bunch, and although that is not a real pinball table, it absolutely could be. There's nothing about it that's like, oh yeah, but you couldn't do that in real life. Now, someone could really build this thing. And that's the kind of stuff that I like the most. But you know, that's just something I kind of poked at. But as I forget whether I mentioned it on air or not. But I do have to run. There's some things I need to get cleared up tonight before going to bed, and I got to get a little extra early for work tomorrow. So I'm gonna roll. But it was nice talking with everybody.
Yeah, likewise.
Same here.
All right, Mike.
And
have a good night.
You know, enjoy the night. Talk to y'all soon.
All right. All right. I guess I will just run through a couple of things that I played. I have 45 things listed here. I'll talk about each thing for 3.5 minutes each. That seems pretty good.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
So
I have tomorrow off, so
let's go. I like that attitude. All right. I already mentioned the Castle of Burgundy dice game. It's really fun. I dig that game. I've never played the actual Castles of Burgundy. I've only played the dice game, but it is very, very enjoyable. So I'm digging that one. Mining Colony Duel. Steve Finn put that out on Kickstarter. I think it ended like last week. It's fun. Like, it's a sort of a flip and right kind of thing where you're filling in your little grid with the different. You basically want to line up, like, you want to have at least 2 to 5 of these certain symbols and rows and columns, things like that. It's pretty slick. It was like $5. So hopefully it'll come back around. So
yeah, I played the original Mining Colony. That was a pretty neat little game too.
I like that game.
Yeah,
it is very fun. I've played solo a couple of times. That's a good one. And Eric, back to your button shy conversation. I played some Sprawlopolis. I'm pretty sure I play it wrong every time, but I still love playing it. Whatever.
That just means you discovered a variant, probably.
There you go. Yeah. Even in this one universe, it's fine.
What are rules but a polite suggestion on how to have fun with a set of game components?
I'm gonna have to remember that.
They don't own you.
They don't. And Panda was nice enough to teach me how to play Circle the Wagon.
That's a good one too.
A couple of weeks ago, and I didn't print it out yet, but I guess I don't know if it was sold out, but there's some solo stuff for it that I just brought the print and play for. I need to take care of that and get on that, because that's good stuff. So I do like that. I also played Isle of Cats with Panda on Sovereignty.
Panda's just all over the internet these days.
Panda's playing. I'm playing a game with her right now. Like, this.
She's just, I was gonna say, like, I'm in 2 games with Panda right now, so I have to assume. She got me on Dice Forge and Can't Stop Express already. She's like in the chat being like,
Can't Stop. That's another game that Jess taught me how to play. I like that. That's a good one.
I've heard good things about it, but I haven't gotten to play it yet.
I actually played the original. It's different, but like, you're playing it like, how did you get from this to this? But it's still good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Can't Stop, so Panda's going to stomp me at this, which is fine. Like,
Oh, that's normally what happens when I play games with Panda. So
I'm very much like, yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
With Panda, it's a learning process.
I taught my friend Colleretto on BGA maybe a week ago. We've played 7 games. This is, I think, probably the 3rd board game that she's ever played. She's very new to board games. Told her, like, we're friends from high school. So I was like, I'll teach you some online and we can just play asynchronously when we chat.
Yeah.
I'm like 0-8. I have not won a single game of Colleretto against this woman.
You're a great teacher, Eric.
I don't know what's happening. She has done things in Colleretto that I would describe as deeply cursed. Like, she'll be like, oh, I'll just draw like 3 more cards, see what happens. She draws the exact set of 3 cards she needs to win. And I'm like,
how did you do that?
I'm not even mad at this point. I'm just wondering, like, what weird curse befitted you with just like a god tier level of skill at Colleretto? I love Colleretto, don't get me wrong, fantastic game. But just like, I thought I was okay at Colleretto, and I have lost every game of it that we've played. Not Welcome 2. I'm winning Welcome 2. I'm doing fine there.
Ooh,
But every game of Colleretto, I'm just getting smoked. So I'm like, what's happening?
You've taught it too well. That's my curse. I teach, I lose.
Truly, the student has become the master. I don't know what to do with that, but it is what it is.
I'm glad you mentioned Welcome 2. I picked up Welcome to the Moon. I have not played it yet.
Oh, how is that? Oh,
yeah.
How does it look? What's it look like?
It looks great. That's the thing. There's a lot of content in it. There's like a full campaign. There's from what I can see, a much more robust solo mode. Mm-hmm. And there's 6 or 8 different cheats. So it comes to just the laminated double-sided sheets. One for, I guess, play 1 to 6? There's a lot of content in that game. A lot. So, yeah, it's funny. It came out last year, but I don't know if it came out at the very end. I don't know anybody talking about it. People talk about Welcome 2 all the time. Welcome to the Moon is like 8 times as much game, but no one talks about it.
I wonder if that's because, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Welcome to New Las Vegas, I don't feel like it landed quite as well. Not because I haven't heard like necessarily good things about the game, but I feel like I
have not heard good things about that game.
Fair enough. Yeah. I heard about it like really US, like stateside in PAX Unplugged 2019, right? Mm-hmm. And so like everything that came out of PAX Unplugged 2019 just got kind of blighted by like the end of the year, start of the pandemic. And so I feel like a lot of games that were coming around since then. Yeah. They are very firmly in the memory hole for me, which is a problem. And I'm trying to like make sure that I dig games out of it. But yeah, I've heard Welcome to the Moon is fun though.
Yeah, it looks, I really want to get into it hopefully this weekend. It's a nice long weekend. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm digging that one. And I played some summer camp with the kids.
Oh, I've seen the boxes.
They don't play a lot of deck building games, but it's a very simple deck building game. But it clicked with them and they got it. So we had some fun with that one. Yeah.
I really liked the modularity of it. I thought that was a really cool like style and strategy.
I like when I see games just offer other boxes of things that they haven't carved out for the inevitable expansion, which is like you could have just put this in this box given its size. You know?
I will say Ben makes a salient point though, which is that also Welcome to had the kind of other problem where like it did get pretty aggressively saturated by just having a ton of like welcome to this, welcome to that, welcome to like the apocalypse, welcome to like Zombie Town. I have a stack of Welcome to sheets that I just haven't touched because there is something truly about like, oh, there were too many of these.
That's true. People might have got burned out, and then hearing that the Vegas one wasn't as great might make people, let me not do it. But yeah, right. I look forward to hopefully saying something about the moon shortly. So
yeah, let us know how the moon is.
Will do.
Is it still there?
AZUL. Apparently, there's a pretty decent solo set of rules for AZUL that came out. I know Ruel was playing it on stream.
Yeah.
I went ahead and asked him, like, where's the link? I downloaded it, printed it out, and I'm looking at the score goal. I'm never anywhere even close to that goal. Like, not even. It's like, see if you can score 85. I'm like, I'm trying to get 60. Like, what is? And I thought I was pretty decent at AZUL. And then the fact that it's like capped at like 10 rounds, I don't know how you get to those higher scores. I'm going to keep trying it because I love AZUL. And if I can't get anybody to play, I will play AZUL by myself because it's AZUL. So
I just really love the pieces for AZUL.
Delicious Starburst.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Exactly. It's funny because when I did the game night this weekend and I brought out Calico, the group was just like, oh yeah, I heard that it was kind of comparable to AZUL, and I was like,
in the sense they are both like placement focused, styley strategy games. Yes.
But in the amount of brain cells you're burning.
Well, I don't know. I'll at least I'll push back a little bit only because for a lot of us, like we get. My major complaint about AZUL is I find that AZUL's like scoring is fundamentally extremely unintuitive to people who are not like saturated in board game stuff. Because someone's like, "How is that intuitive? It's just Scrabble," and I was like, A lot of people haven't played Scrabble, my guy. I'm like, how is it intuitive? It's just Quirkle. And I was like,
A lot of people don't
I don't know how to explain this. Like it's
Who wants to tell them?
Right. It's that something about that just doesn't click for a lot of folks. And so they find that
That's
very
fair.
like, I don't know how to score my tiles,
Absolutely.
which I think is reasonable. It's just like that's one thing that I have noticed about Azul. And that's like, I like Azul. If I'm going to like pitch a game to new players, I usually lead with Cascadia.
Oh yeah.
Or
I
Banjo
feel-
Artichokes, just because that was a fun one.
Oh,
That is
yes.
fun.
I think Azul, I feel like that one is easier for you to play without getting analysis paralysis. You can absolutely get analysis paralysis with it, but some reason it's easy to overlook a rule of like just how many points you can max out to get and just play it and then get it at the end. It's like, how were you ever supposed to get there? And for Calico, because you are reaching for these cats and for these patterns, and they seem just in your face attainable, I feel like on the front end, burn a lot more brain.
I was right there with you,
thing
Fertessa.
once.
Right there with you.
Like I did a bad thing in Azul. I was playing it with Netters of Netters Plays and a couple more friends of mine. And so basically we got to the final round and there was just this big dump of blue tiles in the center of the play area. And I was like, so it was me, so player order, which is important for this, was me, Annette, my other friend, my other friend's girlfriend. And I was like, hey everyone, we're entering the final round of the game. I'm just going to make a quick announcement apropos of nothing. There's a ton of blue tiles in the center that nobody wants. Nobody wants them. Nobody can take them. It's going to be at least negative 15 points. Just throwing that out there.
Wow.
Whoever takes this will likely lose the game. So there's going to be 4 turns left. We're each going to get a turn. I'm going to take a turn, and I'm not taking those. Annette's going to take a turn. She's probably not going to take those. Trevor, my good friend, you have your turn next. If you don't take them, your girlfriend will. I'm not saying what you should do. I'm just letting everyone know that everyone knows how these turns are going to go. Does that make sense?
We've all mapped it out.
I was like, I just want everyone to be on the same page so that decision isn't made without the full context. I'm like, have fun. I took some pieces.
Oh my god.
It wasn't your problem at that point.
That was a bad thing to do. I probably didn't make that up. I probably didn't bring that up for everyone.
But it was
I did.
funny.
It was good.
Give them
Oh,
more
absolutely.
options. Just,
I like people to be fully informed.
yeah.
I'd like to play the new
service.
Azul too.
I do want to play the new Azul.
Which one's the newest?
Queen's
Sorry,
Guardian, I
there's
think.
so many Azuls.
Oh, is there more than one new Azul? Is there
No,
Well,
this is the fourth one. Queen's Guardian.
Yeah, they're
A
all
fourth one?
There's Azul and then there's new Azul and there's new Azul and there's new Azul and they're all new Azuls to me. There's the
Well, I
first
mean, there's
one.
Azul. There's Stained Glass, but I've never played the second one.
That's
Stained
the
Glass
one
and
I
Frank
was talking
Sinatra.
about. Are there 2 more after that?
Yeah, there's the
Oh my god.
there's the pointy one that isn't the crew.
Oh, Summer Pavilion is fantastic.
Yeah, I only know Summer Pavilion because it wasn't the crew. The crew is the next table in the BGG hot room. I was looking at the crew the entire time and I was like, oh, why would I be playing this? And I could just play the crew instead.
They're
No
very
disrespect
different.
to the game. Just I wanted to play the crew in that moment. My friends did not want to play the crew, and all I could think about was how much I'd rather be playing the crew. And then the fourth one, which is I assume Azul, the fourth one.
Queen's Garden. I guess it
seems
adds
right.
a lot of things. I'm a fan.
Aaron, you are much more up to date on this than I am because I'm just like Azul.
Blue?
Like I didn't realize when Next Move committed to only having 4-letter game names, they were just going to release Azul 4 times.
Azul. Bees.
I respect that.
What else?
Reef.
Power move.
Yeah, there was Reef. There was Tuki. Tuki, I think. That was
Okay.
one. Yeah,
I didn't
there
know
were
about
some
that.
other ones. We're having fun.
All right. And for board games, last thing I played Vowel with my wife, which is a game where you have a bunch of cards with just consonants, and you're trying to, well, when you roll a die, you're either like trying to do a stack of them by yourself. You just look at the 3 consonants and then just say a word that I guess qualifies, or you can only have one vowel in between each letter on the card, and then one at the end. It's fun. I won. I was very surprised. She's really good at word games. But yeah, she did Vow Revenge. But no, it's fun. It's a little bored, and as the further along you get, the more cards you have to take. So it gets harder to earn points. The better you do, the more you have to do. So it's interesting. I dug it. And in terms of video game stuff, I don't know if anybody's a Resident Evil fan, but there's the HD Resident Evil 4, the HD remaster mod came out early this month. So I downloaded that. I love Resident Evil 4. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I think I played that game every year pretty much. I just run through it. It's just fun. Played some more Bowser's Fury.
Oh yeah, I heard that was good.
It is good. It's weird, just every now and then a huge Bowser covered in like slime comes and attacks you, and then you can turn it like a kaiju Mario cat lion kind of thing and beat up Bowser, and then he comes back like 8 minutes after that. It's fun. You're just trying to unlock these little cat shines to unlock the bells so you can fight him when he comes. Oh, I like it. I love platformers, so anything like running and jumping, 2D or 3D, I can turn my brain off and just collect a bunch of things. Yeah. I'm all set. What else? Oh, I started playing a game called Infernax. It's on Game Pass on the Xbox. It's clearly influenced by Castlevania, 2D side scrolling, but you can get quests, and you can you're leveling up different aspects of the character. You would actually check quests to see like what you've done, what you haven't done. There's a nice map. It's fun. You can change direction in the middle of a jump. I like that a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because in Castlevania, the early ones, you committed to those jumps. You're jumping left, you are going to die, and you can do nothing about it.
Yeah.
That just gives me flashbacks to Celeste.
I was not trying to go for like any kind of completionist, getting all the strawberries and stuff. I just wanted to get to the end of the level because that game was wow.
I love that game though.
It is great.
It's such a good game.
I like the one that came out before that. What was it? Something Towers? Towerfall. There we go. That was a lot of fun too. Just shooting the arrows and collecting them and out of the bodies of the people that you shot with the arrow. Good times. What else? I'm still playing Max Payne 3 because it's backward compatible on the Xbox. That is like the grimiest, dirtiest game ever. You're just shooting an infinite number of people throughout that whole game. It's just violence on top of violence for like no real reason. Yet it's so relaxing. Go figure.
That's kind of how my housemate and I are with like the Borderlands games. Like,
ooh,
she and I are just running through Borderlands 3, and I'm like, I got this gun. It turns people into goop.
But it's hilarious. It's all comedy.
Oh yeah, I'm like violence.
Who knew?
Who knew? I end up saying, who knew all my problems could be solved with violence?
It's like Borderlands was like the first person shooter that I really got into and played on my own without having to tag team with somebody. Just because I even took on a dinosaur. I regretted it, but I did it. I'm
like debating getting Portal for the Nintendo Switch just because like I really like the first video games that I really bought for myself in like modern gaming was I got a $50 Best Buy card from winning an academic competition, so I spent it on the orange box.
Oh, nice. Money well spent.
It was. And so I got like Portal and I was like, this is amazing. And now I'm like,
it's both of them too, right?
It is. I'm like, do I want Portal for the Switch? Like, do I just want to like be able to relive that or play Portal on the go? Or do I want to just wait and get a Steam Deck? I don't know.
I want the Steam Deck, but I'm trying to think of a use case outside.
I want someone to tell me that the Steam Deck is good, so I feel okay buying it.
Of what I've been seeing, I can't imagine. I mean, my Steam collection is insane, so it's like.
Okay, here's the use case for it. With me now, just visualize it. You can play Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 wherever you want. Anywhere. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. The couch, Roller Coaster Tycoon. A plane, Roller Coaster Tycoon. On a roller coaster, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
in a box with a fox. I mean, just it's all there. It writes itself.
It's flawless.
Mm-hmm.
There are no holes in that plan outside of dropping it.
I mean, but getting the Switch kind of gives you access to a lot of Steam stuff.
The Switch has become almost like a
Oh yeah. No, the thing for me is that the Switch is my like
Steam.
current Steam indie box.
Mm-hmm.
For all of my old Steam games that I had in the before times. I kind of want a Steam Deck so I can at least like bring them up and queue them up for that sort of stuff.
Got it.
Oh, Panda says you can use the phone app to try it out without the physical tech. I do kind of want the physical tech just because I can plug it into my TV downstairs and I can be like pew pew. But
I want it. It's just it's a little much. I don't know because I want the middle tier one. I don't want.
I also want the middle tier one.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It's kind of. I spend so much time here. It's kind of hard to justify. I don't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's really for me. I spend my entire day here for work, and I don't want to like sit in my office and play my Steam library after work because then I don't ever leave this room.
Yeah.
And like at my old place, I had my like all of my stuff was in my room, like bedroom and my office were the same room. So I stayed in one room for like 6 months, and that was just not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a toll. That's for sure. Oh yeah, and last thing is Windjammers 2. I love Game Pass, so I was playing some Windjammers 2, and that's good stuff. Anybody play Windjammers for the Neo Geo? Imagine like Pong, but like souped up in like all the most awesome ways.
Like Jezzball?
Like what ball?
Jezzball?
Just is it what? I'm sorry.
Jezzball.
I'm not familiar with that one.
That was on the old Microsoft computer. It was just a ball that would bounce and you click and it had a red line or a blue line. It was like Tron. And
okay.
You're trying to cut the room to pieces. I don't know how to describe it.
That reminds me of Quicks or Kicks for the arcade. Anyway, I gotta look that up. Jezzball. But it's like a sport. Like you have characters on opposite sides, and you're doing like you're dashing to get it's like a frisbee kind of thing. You're throwing it and lighting it on fire, and it zooms and ricochets all over the place. And Jezzball. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like it feels like it's not the same gameplay, but similar vibe. But there's a free web arcade that does it. Just play around a Jezzball. Tell me that's not like exciting.
I will play Jezzball and I'll report back to you, Fertessa. Post haste.
Yes.
Please
do.
All right, we probably should wrap up. Fertessa, any shout outs, plugs? You want to give one away out?
Sure. Check out Funko Games. We're just rolling. We're just churning out all these different IPs.
For some reason I thought you were like, we're just rolling in cash. And I'm like, I was like,
we're Scrooge McDucking over here.
Hell, like, yeah, are you? Since you have the Disney IP, are you going to make a Scrooge McDuck diving into the money pit game? Because I feel like there's a dexterity aspect there that could be good. You don't have to answer because I know that you can't. But
blink twice if you plan to answer at some point.
My eyes are closed, so I don't.
Blink once if Mickey Mouse is off screen. He's pointing a gun at you.
Wow!
Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
No.
Don't look at him. He doesn't know that we know.
No eye contact.
Don't know anything. Don't know anything. We'll just see. But keep an eye out for Funko Games, our Twitter, and I think we have a Facebook as well. So we make announcements whenever we can finally talk about stuff. My Twitter is usually up to date, and it's Fertessa, so it's really easy because it's the only one. And I'll put shout outs there, especially with updates when it comes to like any of my my prior games or upcoming with Mansplaining. And then check out OFPG Voices on YouTube.
Yes.
They're churning out 2 episodes a month so far, and we get to collaborate with a lot of cool people like Aaron and
like Fertessa.
I love that you two love each other. I love
yes.
And it's really fun. I learn a lot whenever I tune into the episodes, and it's just nice hearing different perspectives and stuff. And I think that's my promo. I'm really bad at that. Yeah.
That was pretty good, actually. I think you accomplished the goal. That's
That's a good promo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You mentioned
if I weren't already following you, I would go do that now.
Oh yeah, I'm even wearing the Funko game shirt.
Okay.
There you go.
Eric, how about you?
All right. My name's Eric Yurko. I am available on Instagram sometimes at What's Eric Playing, the web at what'sericplaying.com for board game reviews, photography, musings, and a really lovely intro paragraph where I just kind of ramble stream of consciousness about whatever I'm thinking about when I write it. Who knows what's going to be in there? And then on Twitter, you can find me at What's E Playing, because unfortunately, What's Eric Playing is exactly 16 characters and a 15 character limit. Yeah, take that, social media. Jack Dorsey. Yeah,
who's the CEO now? Sorry, that's off topic.
I don't remember the guy's name. I'm still gonna blame Jack Dorsey.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a standard clause.
Yeah, that's reasonable. But yeah, you can find me online there. Happy to talk about games, happy to yell about games, basically whatever. I'm just around. I'm extremely online these days.
Okay. Well, thank you to the two of you for saying yes and coming on to the show. I appreciate hanging out with you both.
Thanks for having us. This is a blast.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
That's great.
So don't be surprised if you're asked to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds great.
Oh, awesome. Thank you to Tiny. This is actually his Zoom account. Thank you, Tiny. And Mike normally does mentions having your dogs spayed or neutered on his way out, but he was in somewhat of a rush.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying that he mentions that we should have our dog spayed or neutered while he's leaving our homes. And I was like, he does that?
That's specifically what he would say. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, wow, he really is multi-talented.
It's funny you mentioned that because
you had to have a degree or a license for that kind of.
It's funny. Actually, he used to say that, and then he started adding by a professional because, yeah. And I did want to also mention, because Tiny's in here, but he would also mention Extra Life, which we are doing once again in 2022. So if you go to GameEnthus.com, there's an Extra Life link there. I think GameEnthus.com/Extra Life. You can get the information there about our Extra Life team. And if you want to leave us feedback, you can always do that at podcast@GameEnthus.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, assuming it still works with Google Voice, because it's been a while, that's 202-573-7686. And thank you to everybody in the chat. I would list everybody, but I would miss someone, and I don't want to do that. So thank you to all of you for coming in, making comments, asking questions, making the show better. We appreciate you being here. And I think we can get out of here. I don't know. Eric, you have a lot of games over there. I think we're going to come over there and play some games with you.
I need to play some of these just games.
Just pick a good 70, and we'll see what we can do. And
right. Well, now y'all owe me a round of Dice Forge, right? Like I was like, that's just on BGA.
Yep.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Panda's already started the room.
I respect
waste
that.
no time.
Panda's on her A game constantly, and I have no choice but to respect that.
I agree.
I love when respect is that nice. That overlap between admiration and fear. You know, when someone's just so good at their stuff that you're just like,
exactly.
I want to look away, but I can't.
Yeah, some real
Panda's
pillar assault stuff.
Last defeat, so.
Yeah, beating her it's a good feeling. It's like, wow, maybe I'm not awful at this thing. There's hope for me yet. I shouldn't give up.
Yeah, all those Colleretto losses have been tanking my overall win rate, and I'm just well, I remember when I used to win games. Those were the days, the halcyon days of salad and glory, just winning stuff.
Just play for fun.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best kind of way to play.
That's what I try to do. Or I tell myself I try to do that. Anyway, the stream is going to stop. I guess I could rate. I always forget to do the rating thing. I never know what I'm really doing here.
That's me with Twitch. I occasionally go on Twitch once every now and then. I've got 2 or 3 viewers, and it's great for me because I'm just like, yeah, I'll be on Twitch. That's fun. I played all of Super Mario 64 on there once. It's great.
That's a good game. I went back and tried to get every star when they re-released it on the Switch, even though I still play those games all the time anyway. But
I did it, and I didn't have to use a guide at all. I got all 120 just from memory, and I was like, take that, 8-year-old me. Ugh.
Could do it.
I finally beat Bowser in the Sky. I used to always have to have my mom do it because I just I lacked the manual dexterity to be able to like do the final star throw.
The spinny spin. Yeah, I'm messing up this whole raid thing. So the stream is going to just stop abruptly. And
that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay
There's
with that.
something that could be done about it, but I just don't know what that would be.
There's something beautiful about like sometimes things just end and the stream just shuts off.
Even in mid